the past decade, the longest VFL AFL rivalry has lived in the past. The two sides have not met in a final since 1988, as the Blues have struggled to feature in September. But the swagger is back at Carlton and their best start to a season in 26 years under Michael Voss, as the Blues are flying at 8-2 and sitting fourth on the AFL ladder. While Collingwood under new coach Craig McRae heading into this match fresh off causing a massive boil-over against the Fremantle Dockers. So the Pies are now a team heading into this Collingwood-Carlton clash as the underdogs, but have shown they're a team that you shouldn't take lightly. Hello, welcome to Sunday afternoon footy, the second weekend of Sir Doug Nicholls round, celebrating the great contribution the great Indigenous past and present players have made. It's round 11 of the AFL. Collingwood and Carlton from the MCG. Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. It feels like a big occasion as the fans are making their way into the MCG. To be joined in commentary by Brett Sprigg, Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are here alongside me, but we're going to head straight into the Carlton camp ahead of what's going to be a big game. And a very warm welcome to Jess Webster. Welcome to you.
Thanks, Clinchy. I'm here with Brad Lloyd from the Blues. This is a game that is full of anticipation this afternoon. What are you expecting from the contest?
Yeah, is it ever? Yeah, you can feel the crowd building, and it's been a big build-up all week, and great to have both sides playing reasonable footy. So, yeah, can't wait. So both sides will be ready to go, so we certainly are.
The Blues are back in a big way this year. Can you give us an insight into what the vibe is like around the club at the moment?
Oh, it's been unbelievable, and you can feel a lot of the even past players and past legends starting to get back involved and around the club, and sort of I guess with the build-up. So yeah, it's been really good. Yeah, so I guess it's takes time, and I guess rebuilds take a while, but we're starting to bear a bit of fruit, which is good.
Let's head upstairs to the commentary box to our experts, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
G'day, Lloydie, Murphy, mate. I'm tipping the feeling going into today's game is a bit different going to last year's with the bye next week. What's the feeling around the place in terms of the energy? I'm tipping the bye is probably not being looked forward to by a lot of the boys.
Yeah, how you going, Murph? Good to hear from you. The bye hasn't been discussed too much. Yeah, there's just been so much focus on this week, and it's good to have a fraction longer break from last week's game. So yeah, it's been boys been really focused, and the coaching staff and Bossy did a really good job right from the start of the week, making sure the focus was there. So there hasn't been too much discussion about next week. So get the job done today first.
No worries. And Jack Martin, he's playing today in the reserves.
Yeah, he's playing today in the VFL. So they're out at Preston Oval today versus the Northern Bull Ants, so he'll be having a run around there. And he's a wonderful player, Jack, and he's just had some, durability in the last couple of weeks. So good to see him back into it, and gives us a strong player to come back in shortly.
Now, I've just got to ask you about the number 3 running around for Carlton. First time on the G for Jesse. No doubt he's looking forward to it.
Oh, he's a ripper, and can do some of the special things like yourself, Murph, with some of those check sides or bananas. So he's doing you proud. So yeah, he's good. He's come in with a pretty strong body shape, and really fit right from the start. And he's mature and composed. So he's only going to get better, I think. So we saw him last week. I think it was in the third quarter, looking quite lively and having some shots on goal. So I think he's going to be a long-term player for us.
Brett Delidio here. I just want to ask you about a guy that, mate, I've been super impressed to see come back into the fold after missing a lot with injury. But Charlie Curnow, you must be really happy with how he's going.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, look, he out for such a long period, and I guess you talk about resilience, and he's just kept at it, and a little bit like Sam Doherty when he was out for that period of time. You sort of wonder where they're going to get to, and Sam's done what he's done. But yeah, Charlie's been it was good getting a couple of games in the end of last year, which set up his pre-season. But I never would have expected him to hit his straps like he has. But he's a jet, so hopefully he can fire today.
And going from that end of the ground back to the other, another guy who's mate, he'd have to be in All-Australian contention from my point of view, but Jacob Wiedering is someone you can just really rely on every single week. Get this job done, Jacob. Set up the back six, mate, and you know you can trust he's going to do that.
Yeah, he's absolute rock, and you do feel some comfort having him back there, and knows when to spoil hard and knows when to take the intercept mark or take a strong pack mark. I think we saw that a couple of times against Buddy. So, wonderful player for the club, so mature, great leader down there, so, pretty special.
Carlton head of footy, Brad Lloyd is with us on ABC Sport. Brad, it's Matt Clinch here. In terms of last year to this year, I mean, you're flying at 8-2. Can you put a finger on a couple of things in the off-season that have proved so pivotal to starting as hot as what you have? I know the change in coach, the change in some of the personnel certainly help, and Charlie Curnow back in, but it just feels like a completely different side. Does it feel that way to you?
Yeah, look, I think like rebuilds probably do take 6 to 8 years, so it's been building. And I found I got to the club in 2018. I felt it was pretty steady then, and there was a lot of, I guess, roots being laid at that stage. And yeah, it takes a while to bear fruit. And in the off season, I think the change of we had some good coaches previously, but Vossi came in and I guess refreshed the coaching panel, and Vossi's doing a super job from that point of view. We've had some really good durability to our core group this year. We've had some injuries, but the core group have had a good pre-season, which is good. And I think our core is probably now sort of 24, 25 years of age, so they've come through. We probably had an older group and a younger group, but that sort of younger group starting to mature. And then we've seen some players like Durden and Motlop and these types come through, Jack Carroll, and give us a bit of depth there from the younger brigade. So it's a number of things. You need every area flowing pretty well. So the boys are starting to mature.
So obviously building culture and then obviously setting standards and trying to keep that to them is the other part, embracing the challenge that comes. So Matt Kennedy obviously out this afternoon, and we get to see Paddy Dow, who for a long time Carlton fans have wondered where his best spot is in the Blues side, and after some solid VFL form he gets a chance to show it today.
Oh yeah, look, he's been an unbelievable form, Paddy. Like, he dominates every week in the VFL, and yeah, I dare say he's probably leading the list at the moment from the games I've seen. But look, Vossi's very strong on positional and making sure that players are played in the right position, and rather than I guess putting Paddy in different spots, he's a midfielder and waiting for that spot available, and he wasn't able to get into that first five yet, and Matty's gone down injured with a corky, so Paddy gets his chance. So Vossi's held his line pretty strongly there on keeping players in their positions, so it gives Paddy the best chance to come in when he gets the opportunity. So he's in unbelievable form, Paddy. So we're pumped for him to get the opportunity. Character-wise, he's really held his head up, so he's really impressed us there.
Brad, you spoke about how the team's gelling really well and getting that consistency. The mid-season draft's coming up. Can you give us an insight as to where you're maybe looking forward to add to your list, or if at all you will be?
Yeah, we've got 2 spots available with Oscar McDonald going on to long-term injury list as well, and then Liam Jones finishing up earlier in the pre-season. So we'll have 2 picks. We'll work through how many we use on the night. So if all our players on our order are gone, we won't use any, and we may use 2. So we've had a good look at from a talent point of view, but there's also a few positional spots we wouldn't mind looking at. So we'll have half a dozen in our order for Wednesday night next week, and if they're hopefully 2 of them are available, and we have 2 spots. So that'd be good just to add and top us up for the second half of the year.
Brad, in terms of the occasion, standing room only, we're told, at the MCG for a Sunday afternoon. We know it's pretty passionate in the stands. What about amongst the playing group? Is it still as rife as what it used to be against traditional rivals like Collingwood, the big occasion and a chance to be favourites for one of the few times you've faced in recent years?
Yeah, look, it certainly is. I think the club and coaches and Vossi and past players have done a good job of building that up throughout the last week or so. So certainly that feeling of rivalry is alive and well. And I think with both teams coming off pretty good form, that really adds to it as well. So I think there's excitement amongst the playing group and both playing groups, but then across the city as well. So I think it's great for footy, and if we have a crowd of 85,000 plus today, it'd be sensational for the game.
It certainly will. We can't wait, Brad. Thanks as always for your time, and good luck today and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Brad Lloyd joining us from the Carlton Footy Club ahead of a big clash from the MCG, Collingwood and Carlton. Great to finally welcome Mark Murphy. You know a lot about this clash between Carlton and Collingwood. Is it a rivalry you looked forward to? Does it live in the minds of the current players perhaps as much as those of the past? Yeah, look, it does. I think in terms of the rivalry, everyone within Melbourne who goes for Carlton or Collingwood all feels it. The players, unless you go for Carlton or Collingwood, you're probably not really used to it until you've probably played for a few years and experienced big games. But I suppose for where both clubs have been the last 2 or 3 years, there still is that, you get a big crowd. It's always exciting to play at the G. But now that both sides are going well, obviously Carlton 8-2 and Collingwood probably weren't expected to be where they are at the moment, especially coming off a great win last week. It just builds even more, and the talk around the town's always there. But the guys now, when they play today, and there'll probably be 85, 90,000, I think they'll get a sense of that rivalry when they hear the crowd going. Brett Delidio, welcome to you. These are the stages you want to play in, isn't it? 85+ thousand at the MCG. A chance to test Carlton, a chance to test Collingwood. We spoke to Craig McRae on the lead yesterday, and he spoke a lot about the history of the Collingwood jumper, and they've done a bit of that leading into this Carlton clash about what it meant to be a Collingwood player and to do battle with Carlton on the MCG.
Well, that's exactly right. I was talking to Jess before we came on air about the big games that I've been lucky to play in here at the MCG, and some against Murph and his mob back in 2013. I reckon it was that final. It was that was as loud a crowd as I've ever heard. So, it's good to experience those big moments, I think, for young players especially. And we know that Collingwood are building, because they're probably not going to play finals this year, so they've got to take this opportunity to really say, well, this is what it's like when everyone's here to watch. Can I perform when, there's a lot of noise, and do our structures stand up? Can I communicate with my teammates still? And a lot of trust comes into it, doesn't it, when you're playing in front of a big crowd, because you're expecting, you just got to know what your teammate's going to do with the footy versus being able to actually hear him and listen to direction. So, I used to love the big games. You always pride yourself on playing well in the big games, but didn't always eventuate, did it?
Well, it is great so Carlton, they should play finals this year. So, and for a lot of guys, that'll be new territory. I think almost everyone in that side playing for Carlton, playing finals. I don't think Cripper played in 2013. I think obviously Ed Curnow, who's not out there today, played.
Williams, when he comes back in, will have.
He would have, but when you're playing for Carlton, though, and you're playing finals football here at the G, there's nothing like it. I only played in 2 games here at the G in a final, and we won both of them, and they were an awesome experience. So today's going to be a finals-like atmosphere when you're talking 85, 90,000 plus, and then you've got Collingwood being their home game. There's no doubt going to be a lot more Collingwood here, so it'll be great for no doubt both of the young guys on both teams playing, but Carlton should be there in September this year, so this is a good little warm-up for it.
Would you get nervous, Murph, ahead of these games? Big occasion, even when you're experienced or you're leading the club, still the expectation of wanting to play well in those big games?
Yeah, well, I was nervous before every game, to be honest.
Right.
So I think playing in front of big crowds, I think Lid said it perfectly before. When the really good players set themselves on the big stage to play well, and not that you do a lot of things differently, but you come with a real steely mindset to make sure that when it comes your turn to go, you do it, and you want to set the scene. And when you're one of the better players in the side, you need to make sure that other guys follow your lead. So it's always a huge game. And today, getting up this morning, it was fresh this morning, pretty sunny. It's turned into a bit cloudy now, but I was a little bit sort of jittery myself, thinking, I wouldn't mind being out there this afternoon and trying to put it on a little bit of a show against one of the arch rivals in Collingwood. So there's no doubt, I think Cripper would be one of those guys who would have been looking forward to this ever since the siren went last week, and making sure that he put in a best on-ground performance today.
You can't get a better insight than that from Mark Murphy, recently retired, now with us in the ABC Sport commentary position. So the 261st time Collingwood and Carlton will clash. They're currently tied at 128 wins. It's incredible, plus 4 draws. So whoever wins today will at least get the bragging rights for now. There's another game we're keeping across as well. It's taking place from Docklands. Third quarter action between St Kilda and North Melbourne. Ben Cameron, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Clinchy. Good news for the Saints fans, because King has just kicked his second goal for them. So 9-6-60, the Saints, they lead North Melbourne 3-3-21. Now, before half-time, they'd kicked the last 4 goals of the match, St Kilda, and now they've kicked 3 goals to 1 in this third term. So well and truly in control. As I mentioned, King's got a couple. I've said it a couple of times already, but it's not the prettiest game of football I've ever seen. But St Kilda well and truly in control. They lead by 39 points, 12 minutes into the third term.
Thanks, Ben. We'll stay close throughout the afternoon. Ben Cameron keeping an eye across St Kilda and North Melbourne. I mean, Max King, we're going to see Charlie Curnow today. The challenge for Collingwood will be,
how do you stop
Darcy Moore?
Yep.
How do you stop him in those one-on-one matchups? And it's probably a position in which no key defender really wants to be. One-on-one with Charlie at the moment, the inform forward in the competition.
Yeah, well, I had a few conversations this week about the exciting matchup that will occur hopefully today with Moore playing on Curnow. And for those who don't know, Charlie is one of the most aerobically talented players that I've come across, and even after the last 2 or 3 years, his ability to run, that's why that's one of his weapons, I suppose, as well. His ability to jump and leap and kick goals from anywhere, but he's just so fit, so he normally just burns his opposition player in the ground. And from what I hear from Collingwood, Moore's pretty similar in terms of his aerobic capabilities. So it looms as one of the matchups of the day. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of eyes on whether more goes to Curnow and the job that he can do, because obviously a few weeks ago Moore tried to play on Tom Lynch, and I think he had 19 and kicked 5 for half time. So hopefully for all Carlton supporters that they think Charlie can do the same today.
Yeah, I'd imagine there was a few Collingwood fans who think play a little bit closer than that, Darcy. But, I mean, the midfields are going to be such an interesting battle. Carlton with contested possession, clearances, Collingwood with pressure, which we saw against the Fremantle Dockers. If they can apply that sort of pressure, we've seen Carlton have had quarters where they burst out of the blocks, 9 goals against Sydney last week, but Collingwood will hope that when they get their opportunity, they can actually capitalise as well.
Yeah, well, they're both really hard at it teams, aren't they? Like the pressure and contested ball will be a huge reference today as to how both sides will go. So the game's always, as we always say, it's won or lost in the midfield, and that's where your better players usually are. So looking forward to seeing that battle, because Carlton have been so great with the contested ball this year, and Collingwood, when they play with the pressure and attack on the ball like they did last week when they play against Fremantle, going over there and beating them in really tough conditions. It's going to be interesting whether or not those conditions might play a part sort of later in today's game.
A bit heavy,
with heavy legs.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you can their ability to play so well last week, I mean, it suited them, didn't it? Because they were able to just play that yardage game and simplify the game essentially. But today, nice dry deck, hardly a breath of wind out there. You'd expect it to be a free-flowing game, and you just wonder if Collingwood can really bring that pressure that we've spoken about, then it's going to put the heat onto Cripps and his disposal, and Georgie Hewitt and Walshy when they're going through there. Can they make them just turn it over and allow the Collingwood defenders to play that little bit in front like Darcy Moore likes to do, like Jeremy Howe, Braden Maynard, that like to sit off a little bit, intercept and then go back the other way. So it's going to be won and lost, obviously, middle of the ground. But if Collingwood can just nullify, I think they've got some real weapons up front. Collingwood that can potentially, get on the scoreboard. I speak of like the return of Jamie Elliott, Ollie Henry after 4 last week. We know what Myercheck will do week in, week out.
They've got some difficult matchups, don't they?
Real difficult.
They're not really stock standard players, are they? Like Jamie Elliott is obviously a small but plays pretty tall, and he's just a really mercurial type of player. So they've got some matchups there that I reckon can trouble the Carlton defence. But if the ball comes in slow, that'll suit obviously Wiedering being able to come across and assist his teammates. So I think, as we said, that the midfield battle. But if the ball's coming in quick at both ends, I think the defenders might be in a bit of trouble today.
The voice of Mark Murphy alongside Brett Delidio, Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg to call the action this afternoon, with Jess Webster down the boundary. So Mason Cox holds his spot. I know our little buddy Corby will be happy about that. Obviously subbed out of the match, and Ollie Henry comes in and kicks 4. So really interesting as to how Collingwood function with their forward line. Brody Myercheck's having a great season, and talk about players set for big stages. Jack Ginnivan's shown Anzac Day. Put all the eyes on me. I'm ready to go.
He loves it, doesn't he? And I like a kid who can embrace that but then come out and perform on the back of it. We saw that Anzac Day, obviously, and even on those days where he's been copping heat from Kane Corns on the outside and other people saying, you pull your head in, and even his celebration last week, run into goal, like giving it the double cobras before he'd even put it through. Like that sort of stuff.
We can tell opposition are obviously aware of him, can't you? Because
100%.
They get in his face, and they're actually almost going away from the way in which they play personally with players, and because they're seeing Ginnivan running around, carrying on like he does, but also playing such great football at the same time. So he does certainly get players off their game a little bit, doesn't he, from the opposition?
Yeah, but I think I like to celebrate the guys that are individuals and really come out of there themselves. You don't want robots in the way, one they perform off the field in terms of, how they speak to the media, but even like wearing your hair fully dyed blonde and rocking the long sleeves. I love that. I think that's, we need more players like that, but they've, like you said, Jamie Elliott, another guy who's mercurial. DeGoey can go forward and be mercurial. Ollie Henry's the same. So there's some real weapons there. But on the flip side, I think, Carlton have got the same thing, but probably more through their midfield.
So, I mean, from a Craig McRae point of view, initially the fear was, will he be overawed by all the attention on him? He seems like a guy who actually thrives the more attention that's on him. So when you're playing with characters like that, teammates like that, does it actually energise you and give you that lift sometimes that you might need?
Yeah, certainly. I think there's no doubt he'd be earning the respect of his teammates because he's performing on the big stage. So that's all you can ask as teammates. I think sides now are really good and players are really good now. Just knowing that there's a lot of individuals out there that you've got to celebrate who they are and what they bring, as long as they're doing the right thing by their teammates and playing the right way the coach wants them to play and their teammates want them to play. I think having a bit of spunk and a bit of attitude, I think, can really add to the group because, as Liz said, you don't want all robots out there. You need to have some individual players out there with a little bit of flair because, Charlie Curnow is similar to that. He doesn't celebrate kicking goals before he kicks them, but he does get guys up and about because of his energy, and he's got a bit of a strut about him. So, talking about strut too, Cripper's probably one of the great strutters of all time. So,
he's got a bit of Dermot about him sometimes with his. He pins the shoulders back and away he goes.
No, it's not unnoticed by all of his teammates and the whole football department. But you like seeing guys who just aren't straight down the line. They offer something different to the game, and that's why we love them.
Who was the best, do you reckon, in terms of igniting? And I've got one in mind for you, but for me, it's probably Toby Green that I've played with. Like, when he's up and about, the whole club sort of comes with him, and you just know, like, righto, just get in his general direction. Dusty was probably a little bit the same. Just get it in his direction. Seen him kick 5 and 6 and a half, but I'm thinking Eddie Betts. I don't know whether that'd be someone you would say.
I've had a few. I had probably Fev early days.
Loose,
So, I think obviously everyone knows he's quite the character, but he could kick 8.5 on his ear if he wanted to. So they're team lifters, guys who can just do mercurial things and have got a bit of arrogance about them. And it doesn't come from not being good as well. So I'm talking about guys like Fev, and he did mention Eddie Betts. So he's more of a real spark and creates something out of nothing, which sometimes you need when times are a little bit tough. You need someone who can just kick one from the boundary at will. So those guys are really important for the team, who can really just lift the side.
Swagger, they call it down at Carlton, don't they? Have a bit of swagger about the way in which you go on about it, and there's plenty of Carlton fans who are enjoying it at the moment, sitting third on the AFL ladder. Well, we had a chance to hear from inside the Carlton camp. Jess Webster now has moved around to the Collingwood camp, and she's been joined by Brennan Bolton. Jess, down to you.
Well, Brendan, thanks for joining us pre-game. In a short while, these stands are going to be packed with 85,000 passionate Carlton and Collingwood supporters. How much are you looking forward to the battle today?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's amazing. I think about 125 years of history and same amount of draws, same amount of wins and losses. So it's going to be an exciting game and a fair bit of history behind it.
And you've experienced this rivalry on both sides. What's your favourite part about it?
I just think that, just traditional Melbourne clubs at the G, it's they were here right at the start and they're still continuing now as big clubs. So the players understand it. They're all looking forward to it.
Do you have a favourite memory in the history books?
Not in particular. I just love how even it's been. They usually go to the wire. It doesn't matter where they're positioned on the ladder. They're usually tight games. So I just love that about it.
Well, let's turn our attention to the game. You guys are coming off a really strong win over Fremantle. How much confidence and belief do you think that gave the group?
Yeah, we'd had a bit of an interrupted month prior to that with not a lot of continuity. We had some illness and so forth. Not an excuse, but it just sort of never allowed us to settle. And I thought last week we probably had our strongest side with Jamie Elliott back in. And we played the conditions really well. But we're going to need to lay similar amount of tackles today because we know Carlton are really strong, particularly through the midfield. They've probably added 50 possessions really quickly with Hewitt and Chera, and they could nearly average, 8 or 9 tackles each. So it's a lot of possessions and a lot of pressure they both had.
You've just touched on the midfield there of Carlton. They play a really strong contested brand of footy as well. Have you made any changes during the week to the way that the side is prepared for this battle, or is it just about backing yourselves in?
No, we know that pressure around stoppage is really important. They're a really good team in terms of getting territory from stoppage, but just as importantly, you can sometimes break even or just go down at stoppage and you can hurt on the turnover game. So we've got to be sound enough around that midfield battle and play very well on the turnover outside it.
What's going to be key for you guys outside of those areas? Are you going to potentially go to a particular player like Cripps and try and shut down 1 or 2 of their prime movers, or are you just going to back yourselves in and go for it?
No, we play our way. We think our territory game, you saw it last week, although it's wet, we try and play like that, pretty aggressive to get the ball inside 50, and we think if we can do that quickly, we can hurt this team. But again, in saying it, the contest battle and in and around congestion, they're really physical and we need to be strong there.
And you've had some mixed results so far this season, but overall, are you satisfied with the direction on field of this group?
Yeah, I think when people turn up and watch us play, they can see we're playing an exciting attacking brand and we're scoring with multiple goal scorers. So I think that's exciting to watch. And when we're right on, like last week, our pressure's up, so there's a physical brand to it. So I think anyone watching us can see when we put it all together, it's a brand that stacks up and a brand that people like watching.
The players really pumped about this contest today. Do they go into today really confident that they can match it with one of the best sides in the competition so far?
Yeah, no doubt. We think our best competes with everyone. But with this team, they come out of the blocks. Their first half results have been really strong. They fell away a little bit in the second half, Carlton, but they can blow you out of the water in the first half, so we've got to come out firing ourselves.
Well, thanks for your time and good luck today.
Thank you. Cheers.
Ever heard of Helpers High?
The satisfaction, literally, I cannot define in words.
By volunteering our time, we feed our own positive mood and boost our overall physical and mental health. To celebrate the ABC's 90th year of connecting communities, we're asking you to take the 90 for 90 pledge. Just 90 minutes of your time to help a cause that you care about.
One person can make a difference.
For more information, go to our website, ABC Gives.
The Sir Doug Nicholls round.
Hand pass to the runner, Franklin in full flight, Buddy, unguarded, goal square, got it. That's exactly what that man can do. The ultimate entertainer.
This is Sir Doug Nicholls round.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
An old rivalry with new life as Collingwood and Carlton face off at the MCG. The Blues are flying with their best start in 26 years, sitting fourth on the AFL ladder at 8-2, taking on a Collingwood side who are just a game outside the top 8, having recorded their best win of the season in the West last week against the Dockers. Two premiership teammates, Michael Voss and Craig McRae, do battle from the coach's box for the first time in front of a huge crowd for Sunday afternoon footy. Matt Clinch with you for ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. It's round 11 of the AFL, Collingwood and Carlton. It's around 14 degrees at the MCG, a little bit cloudy, but we're hopeful the rain won't threaten throughout the afternoon, but the floodlights are on already. So the two supporters groups are lining up and the crowd is building. We're expecting just standing room only for this Sunday afternoon fixture. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts. Brett Sprigg took all the action alongside me. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Bit of a tough one for Brendan Bolton, having to talk about his favourite Collingwood Carlton memories. Murph,
I was very impressed with that question. I loved it. I was tuned in to that one. I'm not sure. I think we had a couple of wins, against the Pies under Bolts' reign. So I did have a bit of a laugh at that question. But he's obviously been doing a great job. He's really good at organising people around him. So there's no doubt he's come with a lot of experience over the years from being involved with Alistair and then coaching in his own right. So no doubt he's been great support to Craig already so far this year.
There's a fair bit of changes in both sides of the coaching side. New senior coaches, Aaron Hamill's come into the Blues and added some defensive element, which it sounds like has had a really big impact on the way in which the Blues are not only trying to defend without the ball, but restrict their opposition as well. Yeah,
all the boys from that I've spoken to are all really enjoying what he brings to the football club. He's a really good character. Obviously, being defensive coach, you want to come with a defensive mindset. So he's doing a great job in that department. But they're actually playing some really good football as a unit down there and really supporting one another. So there's no doubt what they're training during the week is actually coming to fruition on the weekend. And you spoke about Jacob Wiedering earlier, Lids being in All-Australian form. I'd be very surprised if it was to stop the season right now that he wouldn't be getting his first All-Australian Guernsey, because he's been fantastic. But you add in with Lewis Young, who I think's been a really good addition, and then some guys around him. Obviously, Sam Doherty's been playing some terrific football. Adam Saar's been great as well off the half-back line. So they're complementing each other really well so far this year, but another big challenge today.
I was really nervous for him when they lost Jones. I thought, there's another key post player that's just, it's going to be a big hole to fill. But Wiedering stood up by himself a lot of the time. He's super. But the other guys that you mentioned in Young, being able to add that, but then they're running half-backs. They've been electric off there.
And I think his direction, his leadership, Jake, is just, that'll be no doubt helping Lewis become the sort of player that he wants to become. And he's no slouch either, Lewis Young. He's been terrific so far, and he's pretty tall. He's over 200 centimetres, so he can play. Is he one of the bear tamers yet? Probably not. He's not quite big enough yet to be a bear tamer, because Liam Jones was certainly a bear tamer. He was aggressive and really powerful. So I think Lewis is building into becoming a bear tamer, but doing quite a good job as so far at trying to tame those.
You've got to be the number one man to be the bear tamer. You can't come in second fiddle behind Jacob Wiedering. He's the bear tamer.
Okay, so Jacob's the bear tamer.
He is, yeah. And then I think Lewis is just off to the side a little bit.
Okay. For listeners that are just joining this conversation for the first time, Brett Delidio's dad Wayne has declared the best fullbacks are bear tamers.
Well, the big ones that can wrestle, the big guys that can take on your tomahawks. Back in the day, your pluggers, your Jason Dunstall. So that's what every club needs one, I think. I had one in Alex Rance. He was fantastic at it. He could take the biggest and wrestle them, and he wasn't that big himself.
Sunday afternoon from the MCG. We're also keeping you across the events at Docklands, approaching three-quarter time there. St Kilda and North Melbourne. Ben Cameron.
Yeah, thank you, Clinchy. About 90 seconds away from three-quarter time. It is St Kilda leading by 51 points over North Melbourne, 12-7-79 to 4-4-28. The last goal coming from King. He's got 3 for the afternoon. There was a nice moment in this third quarter as well when Owens kicked his first goal in AFL footy. Everyone got around him. And then just moments later, in fact 73 seconds later, Mitch Owens kicked his second goal in AFL footy. So when it rains, it pours perhaps. But St Kilda well and truly in control. I've said it a few times, not the best game you're likely to watch. They lead by 51 points close to three-quarter time.
Thanks, Ben. Ben Cameron keeping us across the events at Docklands. If you want to join us on the SMS, 0437 774 774 is the SMS line into the ABC Sport commentary box. Matt Clinch to call the action alongside Brett Sprigg this afternoon. Spriggy, nice to see you.
G'day, Clinchy. Yes, 2-hour flight delay, unfortunate, as the Blues make their way out. But the plus of that, though, being late, was coming in with the punters. 90,000 punters, not being here stupidly early, coming in late and being a part of that flurry was fantastic.
You look like you're under the pump, mate. You're sweating.
Mate, the cab dropped me on Jollymont Road somewhere to run the rest of the way, so I wanted it badly. Here I am.
That's great.
How is the crowd building outside the MCG? Could you see a few starting to make their way in?
Absolutely, yeah. It's got that finals-type atmosphere which you guys mentioned earlier, so you can certainly see it. Plenty at stake for both sides. The Blues up and about, chasing what you say, their best winning streak. Clinchy in 2.5 decades, around about there. So just extraordinary for them this year. And the atmosphere outside and inside at the moment matches the occasion.
So Carlton made their way out onto the MCG and they're starting to go through their preparation, and the Magpies are only a moment or two away. So we've had a fairly hefty lead-in, so a chance to focus on some of the individual matchups in a few moments' time. But with Nam losing yesterday, the streak is finally over.
Yep.
I guess the question looms as to who are the best challengers to face it with sides like Melbourne. Is it Fremantle after the win yesterday? Is it a team like Carlton who have a great contested style of footy and clearances? Is that the questions you have around the Blues as to whether they do have all the right elements to challenge the best sides?
Well, they've ticked every box so far that they've needed to, and it just shows you that no team is unbeatable. So, Nam going down against Fremantle was obviously a huge result. We've all been looking to see who was going to be the first to do that. So it just shows you that everyone can be beaten on any given day. But Carlton, I think, certainly do have the personnel to take it up to Melbourne. Fremantle obviously have shown they can. Brisbane is another team I think is really going to feature quite heavily later in the year. So, look, there's obviously some teams who can match it up against them. I think Melbourne at their best looks still like they're pretty hard to beat. And they'd still obviously be favourite for the premiership. So
full strength, I think you're right.
Yeah. And look, it depends on injuries towards the back half of the year. If teams can keep on getting on a strong run like Carlton are going so well at the moment, just stringing wins together and just adding more strings to the bow is really important. So it's no one's unbeatable, are they?
No, I think that's the key. You said full strength. I like the D's. I think they're obviously as good as any, but Fremantle have shown that you can strangle teams and they're defensively really sound. I think the Blues across the board, we speak of Wiedering, but then their midfield's really strong. When you get Mackay and Curnow firing up front, and they've got some little blokes down there that can really kick goals and put pressure on, I think that's the element that they've added in terms of defensive forward half play. And I like what the Saints are doing. I think we did their game against the D's, and their second half was as... if they had not have given up the 7 or 8 first half goals lead to Melbourne, they're well and truly in that game. So, along with the Lions, I think they're consistently, when they get their full list of players out there playing together, they're a strong side as well. The smoky for me is the Cats down the highway. I feel like they're still got enough class right across the board to challenge, and if they can all go well at the one time, I think they're as well equipped as any team.
Yeah, well, you talk about Cameron and Hawkins in the one side, like they're pretty damaging, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that really impressed me last week with Carlton, and probably the last couple of weeks, is that Patrick Cripps hasn't been best on, and he's probably just been average. The last 2 weeks, he's played a little
respectfully average.
A little bit for his lofty standards. He's still been playing his role, which is what he always does. He's been playing a little bit of a ruck, obviously with Pidney being out and trying to support around the ground, playing that ruckman, which I don't think really suits Cripper too well. He doesn't mind doing it for whatever reason, but I think the fact of Cribben not being at his best the last couple of weeks and the side still finding a way and guys around him still playing at a really good high level, I think is always a good sign when usually you'd rely on Patrick Cripps having 30 and kicking 2 to win most weeks, and the last couple of weeks he hasn't had that.
And the Magpies about to make their way out onto the MCG. So Collingwood are a side who find themselves sort of 5-5 in that bracket of teams. Like the Western Bulldogs are a game further clear. Richmond, the Suns with their big win. Port Adelaide. Swans, who are all kind of wrestling potentially for the bottom half of the 8. And there's sort of a fascination around Collingwood. Could they kind of string a few wins together, or for a team that finished 17th last year, would you be happy to see them beat a team like Carlton? Like they obviously took Geelong in a high-scoring contest at the MCG right up to them. Is that where Collingwood's expectations will be this season?
Well, I think for Collingwood, for mine, is that they've got a lot of things going well at the moment, but they're going to have those ups and downs. And I think ultimately, like that loss to West Coast earlier in the year is probably going to come back to bite them a little bit. You know, that's one you probably shouldn't have let slip, considering where the Eagles are at the moment. But they're doing a lot right, and they're playing off high energy, high enthusiasm from a lot of young players, but they're also testing out their depth a little bit as well. They're not afraid to make some changes, bring some players in, see them in new positions. They can continue to do that, then they'll be thereabouts, but I haven't got them inside my top 8 at the moment. I think they might be a year too early, but they'll certainly learn a lot about themselves and be better for everything that they've done their first year under Fly, and no doubt be a serious challenger in the next 3 or 4 years, I would have thought.
Yeah, well, I think expectations were always probably pretty low going into this year. First year coaching Craig McRae, and probably their list isn't quite the stage of playing finals and really competing hard in finals. But, guys come along and improve pretty quickly, and if the belief's right there, then confidence builds. You never know where it can get to, and having a win like last week against Fremantle over there, and a really strong win at that, can start to build confidence. And if they can play some really good football today and take it right up to Collingwood, to Carlton and win, then who knows where they can get to.
The thing that impresses me, Clinchy, is that it's not Pendlebury having to get 35 anymore. It's not Sidebottom doing the same. It's, they've got other guys that are covering that. And mate, Jack Crisp for me, like how do you play 170-something games in a row and average over 25 pretty much for all of those? He's absolutely flying at the moment in the middle of the ground. He'd be nearly leading their best and fairest, wouldn't he? But
you'd think so. The streak almost came to a halt last week, where he didn't train as much last week against the Dockers, but was able to continue that on. So he's still got a fair bit of ground, I think, to chase Jimmy Steins. But as you guys said last week, you need a little bit of luck to be able to play such a long passage of consecutive games, and he's been able to have that. So Collingwood have made their way out onto the MCG. So the Collingwood Indigenous jumper, designed by artist Tyson Austin and Troy Isles, proud Wamma people. The design tells the story of the club entering a new chapter. The falling feathers are symbolic of the magpie shedding its old feathers to be replaced by new ones, and the back of the jumper features a coolamong providing a safe place for magpie eggs to hatch and to be nurtured. And the Carlton jumper, obviously they're going to be wearing this for the second consecutive week, designed by Indigenous artist Shani Kellett, and each circle represents the club's Indigenous players in their country, and every past and present Indigenous player to have worn the Carlton jersey. So one of the great parts about Indigenous round is some of the storytelling, and I guess looking back at some of the past legends and the current players playing. Is there a favourite Indigenous player that you guys played with that comes straight to mind?
I love playing with Andrew Walker and Eddie Betts. I've played with quite a few exciting Indigenous footballers over the years, and I still remember a couple of the hangers that those guys took. One out here, Walks taking an absolute, I can't believe it still didn't get mark of the year against Essendon. That was huge.
Oh, that was on Carlisle, yeah?
Yeah, and then Eddie Betts had 2 up at the Gabba one night up there when we played against Brisbane. For a small bloke who's 172 to be able to take a hanger and jump on blokes' heads, and everyone talks about his goal-kicking prowess, and which they rightly should be. For someone so small to just to jump up and take big hangers, that's why we celebrate Indigenous athletes and footballers, and some of they can do things out there that just not many can. So they're so special to our game.
I played with a couple of my favourites that I played with, obviously Andy Cracker when I first started, the daddy. He made some of the things that he could do in a small space was incredible. And Richie Tamling as well, another Indigenous boy that I played a lot of footy with early days. But my favourite all time was Andy McLeod. I just absolutely loved him. Yeah. He's a smooth mover, I actually was able to get in contact with him when I was really battling with my own footy, and mate, he was awesome to talk to about just enjoying your game more than anything else, enjoying the game for what it is. So, absolute all-time favourite, Bunge McLeod.
The one that just strikes me with Andy McLeod, and we were both pretty young, but just being able to run at unbelievable pace, bounce the ball, and look over the shoulder like he was just in second gear.
No one's catching me.
No, and I played with a bloke who was pretty similar in terms of how he ran and moved, like Chris Yaron. Was very similar.
Yes.
And guys would get close to him, and he'd almost just look over his shoulder and just go, no, I'll just go up to third gear here and just take an extra couple of steps and just deliver and normally hit the target. They're just special players, and Andy McLeod was one of my favourites growing up.
Springy, you got the call, Lance Franklin in Sydney. It doesn't get much better than that, does it?
5 goals and best on ground for the second time in a Marngrook match as it is up there in Sydney, the feature event of Sir Doug Nicholls round. It was just tremendous, and that club as well, Sydney, celebrates that part of their culture so well.
Yeah, I got to call Eddie Betts for 5 years in Adelaide, and I don't think I've seen too many players arrive at a new town and all of a sudden be as loved as what Eddie was, but Jeff Farmer for me was a hero growing up. If you could take a mark like the Wiz, you knew you were going well. So that was what I was always trying to emulate, unsuccessfully in the backyard or at the schoolyard. We can now head down to the middle of the MCG for the official welcome to country.
I pay homage to the sacred ground that we're on. I wish to acknowledge both teams and their families, my elders and any other elders that are present, and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander persons, and I acknowledge you all, and I pay my respects to your ancestors, elders and families. It's an honour and a privilege to be here today with Sir Douglas Nicholls round. I call him Uncle. I grew up with knowing him and visiting us as a young child and with my grandmother. So I have great memories that are very special to me. And he's a wonderful man and very powerful man, and has paved the way for us to be able to come here today together, united as one. It's Reconciliation Week, so we need to respect each other and journey together. We need to remember today we're here as family, and we have young ones here, our future leaders. So they need to sit here in peace and listen and learn and enjoy. So please remember there are families here, and we need to take care of each other. I offer you my hand in friendship so that we can journey together. May Bunjil, my Creator, surround you all and give you strength and resilience. Womanjika, Wurundjeri Balak Yemen Gundibik, welcome to the traditional country of the Wurundjeri people. I say Nyangojin, that means thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey today, and have a great day. Nungojin.
So we're seeing a video montage on the big screen here at the MCG as the two playing groups break into their respective huddles and start to go through their final preparations ahead of this afternoon's clash. It's Collingwood and Carlton from the MCG. There's no late changes for either side. Start of the final term at Docklands. St Kilda taking on North Melbourne. Let's check in again with Ben Cameron.
Yeah, so as it stands at the moment, Clinchy, it is St Kilda 12-7-79 leading North 5-5-35. So the Saints by 44 points, but North trying to restore a little bit of respectability in this match. We're 5 minutes into the fourth term, the Saints by 44 points.
Thank you very much, Benny. No late change here. So Bo McCreary, the sub for the Magpies, and Jack Carroll for the Blues. So not too far to go to the opening bounce. So final thoughts from Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy. Where do you think this game is going to be decided?
So I'm just looking at some of the highlights from over the years of some of the games, hoping to try and feature in one of them. But
little head rub or something.
I probably won't. I'm looking forward to seeing how Paddy Dowd goes, to be honest. I think 100%. A lot's been said about Paddy, and he gets his opportunity today with Matty Kennedy going out of the side. So I know how hard he does work, Paddy. I know how clean he is inside. I just hope he can really feature today heavily for the Blues and try and cement a spot in this side, because I think he's one of the untapped talents in the footy club. So hopefully for Paddy's sake and for Carlton fans, they can hopefully see the best of him today.
Well, I'd like to see a bit of pick and stick, Murph. Pick him and allow him just to develop into his game, even if Matty Kennedy does come back. But for mine, it's the matchup, and I'm hoping it happens, is Darcy Moore v Charlie Curnow. We saw against the Tigers that Darcy Moore didn't play his best game. He probably wasn't responsible for all of those goals, but he wasn't close enough, I didn't feel. I was watching it live, I was here, but I think that he would have learned a hell of a lot for that, and he want to say, well, I'm going to take ownership of this, I'm going to control, and say, well, Charlie Curnow, good luck being the form player that you have been. Yes, you'll probably still get 2, 3, 4 shots on goal, but you're not going to kick a bag of 6 on me, So that's the one for mine, but it's all get won and lost in the middle, isn't it? And that's where you want to be able to challenge yourself. I like the challenges of DeGoey and Adams, Crisp in the middle versus Cripps, Hewitt. Tongue twister, that one.
There's a few names in that Collingwood, in that Collingwood side in the midfield that be looking at the Carlton midfield, and Carlton, as they should be getting credit for how well they've done this year. But there's no doubt the Collingwood midfielders in there would be thinking we're better than these guys. We can play just as good, if not better, inside. So there's no doubt guys like Adams will come out there today and I reckon really try and stamp his mark and be really physical early. So it'd be really exciting to see the two midfielders go head to head. So I think that's a really exciting part of today. And yeah, you did mention Charlie Curnow and Moore. I think no doubt from both individuals' point of view, they would have looked at each other throughout the week and thought, well, this is my chance on a big stage to really show the competition how good I am. Charlie would be thinking that, no doubt, and so would Moore. So it would be really exciting. Two really proud players, two really exciting and really talented players going head to head. It'll be great for the show for us today.
It's also want to see how Collingwood with a young team, how they go with a big crowd like today and being able to embrace the moment. But this is also a trial run almost for Carlton as well. You expect that they're going to play finals. The supporter base is starting to really get behind you here. Can you deal with that expectation? That's going to be the key for both these teams today. One, being able to deal with the moment, but then the expectation that comes with that as well. So I'm excited, mate. It's going to be a cracker game, and just wrapped to be with a full house. I mean, it's been so long since we've seen the MCG really pumping like this, so should be a good one, Clinchy.
So the crowd is continuing to make their way into the MCG. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy, your experts. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg to call the action. The final member of our team sitting in the front row of the grandstand, Jess Webster. Welcome back again.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's so good to be here. The weather gods have been kind to us this afternoon. It's about 14 degrees and overcast. No real threat of rain, which is fantastic news. We're expecting a crowd of around 85,000 people here this afternoon. It is going to go off here, I think, in the MCG. I just can't wait for it. Bring it on.
Thank you, Jess. Carlton have won the toss. Patrick Cripps and Jesse Motlop out in the middle with Scott Pendlebury. They'll head to the punt road end in this opening term. And Collingwood to where the majority of their supporter groups are at the city end in this opening term. So Scott Pendlebury, you'd imagine, starting at half-back, or is he starting in the midfield?
He's in the guts there,
I reckon he might try and play on Patrick Cripps today. Okay. I think he's done that over the last couple of years. Try and play a negating role on the Carlton skipper. So let's see if that one transpires.
And Darcy Moore's heading to Charlie Curnow. Stocker alongside Jamie Elliott in the goal square for the Magpies. So for the 261st time, it's Collingwood and Carlton. Both sides tied at 128 wins and 4 draws. After today, someone will have bragging rights. Here's Brett Sprigg.
Let's go. Cameron v. de Koning. Carlton win the tap. Cripps, hand pass off the Chera. They win the first clearance. Comes the ball inside forward 50. Unkind bounce to Silvani. Tapped out the back here. Getting goal side Durden. Can't shuffle out the hand pass here. Motlop lurking in the pocket. Hand pass back inboard now. Big tackle put there from Maynard on Walsh. Footy comes free. They can rebound the football here. Side bottom for the Pies. And Howe can come beyond defensive 50. Has it been marked just inside the bit of play? No. Out of bounds on the full. Only clanger here for the Pies. Carlton back in possession through Sard at left half forward.
Has it at left half forward under the Olympic stand, long inside the 50. Where's Cripps? Curnow there as well. They fly. Can't take the mark. Adams with a hand pass back. Clear and kick from Murphy to half back. Ollie Henry's there. Sport away for him for Collingwood. At ground level, Adams works it back to Jock Stakos. Right on defensive 50. Up towards Elliott on the wings. Spoiled away by Stocker. And seen out of play for a throw-in in front of the Carlton bench. Opening minute here at the MCG. No score with the Blues heading to the punt road end.
Looks like Liam Stocker's got the job on Elliott today.
Good matchup, I reckon.
Good matchup because he's nice and hard, Liam Stocker.
Bite tosses it back in. Rucks go to it. De Koning in front. Tapped outside here. Cripps lays off the hand pass again. Chera on that left boot. High ball inside forward 50. Deep to the pocket. From behind there to Spoil. Coming from Murphy. Out of bounds for a throw in. 35 around from Carlton's goal. Punt road end. Inside the opening 90 seconds. No score here on Grandstand AFL.
2 early clearances to Patrick Cripps so far. It looks like Pendlebury's near him.
Thrown back in, Darcy Cameron knocks it to the front. Cripps can't take it cleanly, a chance for Walsh for the Blues. Hand passes towards the boundary line. Motlop can't keep it alive to Chera, and the umpire will throw it in 50 metres out from Carlton's goal.
Been kind there, I would have thought, Murph. He handed over very quickly there as soon as they crossed paths.
Toss back into play. To Koenig, Cameron to engage in body contact. Fisher hacks it inside the 50 with a volley, which is intercepted by Josh Dacos. He marks for the Magpies in the right back pocket. No score through 2 minutes.
So Dacos just gives it a roost up the members' side. Looks towards Mychek in the contest with Wiedering. Spoil from behind. Mychek follows up though. Hand pass off here. Pendlebury tumbles it forward. Marked here by Elliott on the wing. Lays off the hand pass. Adams in space under pressure. Closing down. Great tackle it was. Plowman. Ball comes loose. And now taken high. Ginnivan. Umpire says, yep. Free kick. Collingwood just forward of halfway. 65 from goal.
He's good at that, isn't he?
Drops the knees, doesn't he?
I never knew how to do that. Never.
Ginnivan, the AFL's latest pest. The Pies fans love him. Up inside 50 he goes. Long to the teeth of goal. Wiedering takes a towering mark on the last line and prevents any further advance. No score in the opening 3 minutes.
All-Australian fullback, Jacob Wiedering.
Well, now, not judging by that kick. But
not a great kick. Chera tries to keep it alive up against the boundary line, and he steps across through pressure from Josh Dacos.
Well, I think so far, Clinchy. I think he's been fantastic this year, and the previous 2 years he's been very stiff not to be All-Australian. So he's doing a great job so far and just sets up his teammates really well around him.
No doubt. Cal Wilkie's in conversations from the Saints alongside the likes of Darcy Moore and Stephen May from Melbourne. From the throw-in, crisp tackle. Footy couldn't get away with it as Hewitt laid another good tackle, and Cripps is in to Taylor Adams, and the two are right in front of the front row as they wrestle and the reinforcements come in. Plenty of spirit on display early in this big blockbuster contest from the MCG, and the boundary umpire is pretty keen to throw it in while they continue to scuffle.
He wastes no time. Thankfully no reinforcements from the front row. Over it comes here. Josh Dacos couldn't get the hand pass away. Pendlebury into the back of him. Motlop. Ball comes loose. Walsh a hand pass. Running boundary side here. It's still alive now for Fisher, and now it's out of bounds again on the full. Now it will be down to you, Jess Webster, on the boundary.
I think the crowd are getting really into it really early. That last scuffle, there were so many patrons in the stands, probably a couple of bays full that were standing up in their seats, like, egging them on. It was really funny to see.
Collingwood ball from right half forward. Pendlebury goes long inside 50. Up they go again at the drop. Ginnivan lurking. Sard with him. Keeps it alive. There's Sard in defence. Hand pass off to Walsh. Back to Sard. Hurries the kick beyond defensive 50. It's marked by Murphy of the Pies.
So still no score through the opening 4 minutes. Collingwood now with their crack at right half forward. As Murphy looks to send them deep into attack. Cameron's there, Mychek as well. De Koning for the Blues, spoils it down. Elliott trying to get on the end of it. Cripps knocks it back inside the defensive 50. Got it to Hewitt, to Chera. Kicks up to the members wing. Howell flying in front position against Curnow. Couldn't take the bar. Now Charlie's onto it. Tackled by Murphy, no whistle. Play on's the call. Silvani emerges with it. Kicks to half forward, where the mark is taken on his chest by Matthew Cottrell. No whistle, big call on Charlie Curnow. He's 55 metres out, wants to come inboard. Spots up Hewitt. George Hewitt veers out to the right, edge of the centre square, long towards Walsh and Silvani. Flying in from the side was Darcy Moore. Walsh hard against the boundary, tries to keep it alive. Somehow kicks it back towards the goal mouth. Silvani onto it, can't get boot to ball. And Pendlebury for Collingwood with the hand pass to Howe.
Howe was pushed off the kick and it goes out of bounds on the full again.
Good pressure. Great pressure from Matt Cottrell there.
Mind you, Cottrell just going back. They've had an empty goal square from 60 out. Didn't back himself in.
Yeah, should have had a ping, but probably doing the right thing.
Zach Fisher, centering ball here to the top of the goal square. Picked off by Jeremy Howe of the Pies. Tumbles it beyond defensive 50. Back with the flight, reaching for it. The Blues won't get there. Eventually coming the other way out to meet the football. It's tumbled up the line here from Stocker. Skids out here towards Josh Dacos. Hand pass back to Noble. Up the boundary line. His kick's a turnover as well. Straight to Hewitt, just fall to the wing.
Hewitt looks to go short to Walsh. There's still 2 kicks out from goal. Veers out to the right. Long towards De Koning. Too wide into the left forward pocket. Out of bounds on the full.
You can already feel the heat, can't you? I think a few of the early tackles from Collingwood and Adams and Pendlebury down here at the far side of the ground was really showing the lead in terms of the attack they want to have for today.
Sard with a good fly on the back of Darcy Cameron. Takes intercepting mark from the kicker Murphy. The hard-running Adam Sard, known for his bouncing, but in the air there. Has it left half forward, inside 50. Where's Charlie? Silvani flies, brought it to the front. Cottrell couldn't get a disposal away, and Pendlebury's taken high in a tackle by Paddy Dow. Collingwood captain 30 metres out from his defensive goal.
No score in the opening 6.5 minutes. Up the line they come. Josh Dacos off a step. Cameron unmarked on the wing, coming late. Good spoil it was, eventually coming late from Lewis Young. They go inside 50 here, the Pies. It's marked by Elliott. He's 35 out on a slight angle to the right. Nice entry from De Goey. Elliott will take the set shot here and find the first score of the game. 7.5 minutes in at the MCG.
Well, it was really well done by Plowman. They had my check over in the goal square. He just manned the mark well enough to push Elliott back, but just managed to get on the outside then, didn't they? Collingwood had that overlap. Played a smart kick from De Goey to go forward inside 50.
Jamie Elliott, 4 goals, 3 this season. Slight angle better than 45 degrees in the right forward pocket. Makes no mistake. And the Pies have the first.
They were probably a little bit stiff there, the Blues. They had Lewis Young come across and support a teammate, and had a huge spoil here on the wing, but went straight into De Goey's hands, and then they used the ball over the top to his man. So they weren't too bad there, the Blues. It was quick ball movement. I think the ball that really set it up was Pendlebury's just kick through the corridor, wasn't it? From a high tackle from Paddy Dow. Just the composure, and that's something obviously that Scotty Pendlebury's got in spades, but just to back himself in, kick the ball up the guts and really open up the Carlton defence.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport at Docklands, St Kilda and North Melbourne. Ben Cameron.
The Saints leading by 43 points, 18.5 minutes into the fourth term. 14-7-91 to 7-6-48. Only a matter of the margin. Clinchy.
Back in the middle, Cox in the ruck against Ciccone. Comes away of Carlton through Chera. Kicks low. Curno's got it. Coming out of the lead, down low to his right. He was able to clunk it. That's a good mark.
Yeah, you can't underestimate that mark. At full pace, being able to take the ball below your knees as a tall forward. The kick was probably a helicopter too.
It's carbon copy of the first clearance of the game. Chera coming out. Not much you can do about that, Darcy Moore. Too good, that one. Fast ball movement. I can't really defend that.
For so long we wondered if we'd see the best of Charlie Curnow. Here he is leading the Coleman from 45 metres out. He kicks the Blues first. Carlton on the board after 9 minutes. It's a goal apiece. A blockbuster Sunday afternoon fixture, and Charlie's on the board.
Well, that'll settle the nerves there for Charlie. I reckon he's been looking forward to this all week, but conversely, Moore just got to go back and just go, too good. The centre clearance was too good. Paddy Dow, good to see him get on the end of the Tom De Conning tap and offload it to Chera, and then those balls you just can't defend them as defenders. So Charlie just too good there. Would love that little start by the big man leading the Coleman.
Good for him to go back and just knock it through. That'll really settle their nerves, his nerves, but also the Blues boys around. And so if you go back and you put that one through the points, it's like, oh, God, we could have really done with that one. The team can be a bit deflated, but knock it through. Boys like, yeah, right, we're in this game. Let's settle. We're good to go.
Test the hamstrings, that ball coming in.
Absolutely.
First quarter is 10 minutes old here. Still some fans filing in. Cox in the ruck against De Koning. Laid down here for Adams, who was held. Free kick Collingwood just behind the bullseye. Lays off the hand pass. The raking left Pega Maynard goes long down the corridor. Out there with 2-on-2. Spoil from Wiedering defence. Second right, in fact, he's paid the mark. Wiedering marks in the right back pocket. One straight 6 apiece here. 10.5 played. Wiedering called to play on. Sends it along the southern wing. Tries to find it out there towards Dow. Up in the contest with Sidebottom. And it's off hands for a throw-in.
Scores level at a goal apiece. Sam Walsh running hot early with 7 disposals. As the boundary umpire readies himself to throw back into play. To Koning up against Mason Cox. Cox palms it to the front. Cripps worked off it for Carlton. And a big tackle laid by Darcy Cameron following up his ruck work, making sure Sam Doherty can't move any further. Left half forward for the Magpies. Umpire tosses it in the air. Cox with the goggles up against De Koning. Knocks it down. Comes to Adams. Hand pass to Tyler Brown. Kick was smothered. Still inside plenty of contested players. Dow with a hand pass to Walsh. Back to Paddy Dow. Fires a hand pass wide boundary side looking for Cripps, but Sidebottom's onto it for Collingwood. Tackled across the boundary line. Great lunging effort from Adam Chera. A throw in the same position, left half forward for the Pies.
Looks like Carlton forward. There's a Carlton sort of small forward coming up to the stoppage, playing with 5 forwards at the moment.
Umpire heaves it back in. front of the Shane Warne stand, southern side of the MCG. Taconing up in front, down to Chera. On the right boot, just sends it up the line now. Howe floats across, won't control the mark. Durden swoops in, claims it here, 60 from goal. Neat entry as well towards the pocket. No one's back there in the goal square. Bouncing through. Corey Durden. The goal on the run from 65 out, had good vision. Knew there was no one back there. He goes all the way to kick Carlton's second. 2 straight 12. The Pies are 1 straight 6. 12 gone first term. A packed MCG Sunday afternoon. Grandstand AFL, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio.
Well, that was his only option, wasn't it, Murph? Great attempt on making sure Jeremy Howe didn't take the intercept mark, but never gave up on the play. But Charlie Curnow was high, so he was either kick it just over his head and allow him to run onto it. But I've always encouraged young boys to say, right, you see the open goal square, kick to the goal square, and hopefully it bounces on. If not, your teammate might be able to run onto it. So great play, good finish from 60 out, on the angle.
Good awareness, because Josh Dacos was working hard back to support the Collingwood defence, but tumble punt over the top, and happy days for Corey Durden.
The round 9 rising star nominee for the Blues on the board early here. Back in the middle, Silvani up against Cox. Free kick, non-officiating umpire for a hold, and Dow takes the advantage. Kicks Carlton long into defence over the back of Charlie Curnow. Buddies onto it. Curnow wedges it onto his boot and kicks his second. They're going to check.
Missed.
John Noble thinks it was the wrong side of the post.
So does Charlie by his reaction.
Yeah. So quick when the ball hits the ground, Charlie Curnow. Not to mention his aerial threat. So we go to the arc for the first time this afternoon, and that looks the wrong side of the post. So,
Wouldn't be surprised if Collingwood just try and maintain the football for a little bit here. The Blues look pretty hot at the moment, as we've seen throughout this year. That they can go on and kick goals in succession really quickly, the Blues. So Collingwood just need to be careful here that they don't let them get away. I know that it's only 1 goal to 2, but they're looking pretty exciting and damaging at the moment, Carlton.
Points given, so a 7-point ball game Carlton's way.
John Noble plays on the right back pocket, long from the kick out, beyond defensive 50, floating across Mason Cox, can't claim the mark. Follows up, hand pass though goes straight to Jack Nunes, back here for the Blues, tracking back Hewitt on the wing, on the angle finds Cripps, a neat pass by Foot. The Carlton skipper goes back to the former skipper in Doherty, off a step, works it towards the flank, back to the flight, Walsh in best position.
Great kick, wasn't it?
He marks 65 out up against the boundary line, comes back inboard for Cripps, he's 60 from goal. Bright sunshine peering through the clouds here at the MCG. High ball toward the teeth of goal here for the Blues. Curnow up in front, score from behind Darcy Moore. Howe can just thump it on his boot. Beyond defensive 50, slap out the back cleverly here for the Blues, although nice work from De Goey to make the contest on half back. Fresh air shot there with the soccer. Adams coming back the other way, does okay for the Pies. And now Silvani, into the back of him goes De Goey. Loose football now, gathered by Lipinski, or is it? Still alive in front of the centre circles, and the umpire's going to say, let's ball it up. It's Carlton 2-1-13, Collingwood 1 straight 6, 15 going here in the opening quarter.
Wiedering coming off, holding his shoulder, it looks like.
So get Jess Webster, keep a look on that. Cox wins down the tap, straight to Walsh, who's tackled immediately. Cox and also Ollie Henry laying the tackle. Umpire quickly throws it up. Silvani doing the ruck work. Mason Cox comfortably wins it down to De Goey. Kicks towards 50. Running onto it, Sard. Pinched it from Darcy Cameron. 1-2 with Doherty. Back to Sard. Through the middle of the MCG. Hand pass to Hewitt, who can fire a hand pass laterally to O'Brien on the wing. Short pass and Silvani marks. Centre of field. Shane Warne stand side.
Third generation Blue takes his time from the outer logo. Calls the play to him, thumps it long inside forward 50. Up goes Murphy in defence, more in there as well. Howe kept his feet at the drop. He gets the hand pass out to side bottom, works his way around Cottrell, back to Quaynor. Standing start with the hand pass, off half back. Now Howe can clear. Out to the southern wing. De Goey up in front, going the other way. Mychek, friendly fire. Out the drop, Sard. Gets the hand pass back for Doherty here for the Blues. Now they can come back up the line where it's marked. No, it's a little too deep this time. The ball for George Hewitt. It goes out of play for a throw in. 70 around from the Carlton goal. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Doesn't look great for Jacob Wiedering. He's straight down into the rooms with the medical staff with that right shoulder injury, it looks like, and he made a makeshift sling out of his Guernsey, holding it in place.
Thanks, Jess. So Plowman to Mychek at the moment with Wiedering off the ground. Cox wins down the tap towards Lipinski, couldn't get a disposal away. Hewitt with a hand pass to Doherty for Carlton. Hand pass to O'Brien to Cripps, the Carlton captain, deep inside the 50. Murphy well set in front of Charlie Cameron, and he takes the mark. Had a lot of challenges with concussion. Feeds the hand pass back to Noble for Collingwood. In the defensive 50 to Nick Dacos, up towards Ginnivan. Used his body well. Got rid of Saab, but run down by Nunes. Josh Dacos pitches it back for Collingwood. Turns and kicks boundary side. Members wing. Darcy Cameron marks on his chest in front of the Collingwood bench.
Blues by 7 points. 17 going first term. 2 goals to 1 here early on. Darcy Cameron, big lad from Albany. Thumps it up towards half forward. Wanting to sit up there. Mason Cox. Initially my check one of the rise, but Mason Cox in from behind. Clunks it 55, make it 60 out. They all start to surge forward in black and white jumpers. It's Cox is called to play on. High to the hot spot now. Up they go again at the drop though to Goey. Roved it into the back of him. Great work it was from Plowman. Ball still alive here for Lipinski. Check side from the pocket across the face. Marked by Sidebottom. Adjustment required 15. He plays on and dumps it through for the Pies second. Carlton 2-1-13. Collingwood now 2 straight 12. 18 played first term here on Grandstand AFL.
Well, it's a developing story, isn't it, with Jacob Wiedering? Because I think if you know, to lose one player out of the side that you really desperately don't want to lose out of the Carlton football side, it's probably Jacob Wiedering. And hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully a stinger, but running off with holding the jumper like it should be in a sling doesn't look great, does it, Blitz?
No, that's it. But I just want to talk about the forward craft of Steele Sidebottom. I watched him as a pup, mate, in the under-18s when he used to dominate back there for the Murray Bushray, just doing exactly that. Always been a very clever footballer. Well done by Pat Lipinski, just his ability to stay involved and just scrub a kick going forward. Wasn't to the top of the goal square, and that's where every winger plays their role, being down there like Steele was.
What about the aerial work of Mason Cox? Not bad when you're 211 centimetres. Back in the middle to Koning, wins down the tap for Carlton, trying to get the clearance. Dow, a clear passage was made for him. Kicks towards half forward. Quaynor in front of Bowies. Takes them off for Collingwood on the defensive 50. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Bad news for the Blues and Jacob Wiedering. It looks like Carlton have activated their medical sub. Jack Carroll's going to come into the game. Wiedering out with a right shoulder injury.
So big news there. Not exactly a like for like. So Plowman, is there anyone else that can potentially...
Stocker's going to have to play tall, I would have thought.
Maybe a Jack Silvani might have to go back or something if they feel the need to have a tall.
Chris Passer for Collingwood on the southern wing, up towards half forward. Darcy Cameron behind, spoils it down to the front, but Sard's there. Hand pass away to Cottrell, trying to link up with Chera. Jack Crisp was in there, couldn't win it for Collingwood. The Blues win a free kick and advantage. Motlop with a hand pass. Carroll's kick intercepted. Onto it, Darcy Moore, and away he goes.
He rebounds quickly, high ball inside 50, 2-on-1, and snatched out of the air. Great work it was by Henry.
How good's that? Darcy Moore coming off half back, and that's what we know. He is at his absolute best. I love that he takes the mark but wants to go forward at the game, and that's what gives him that 2v1 essentially, wasn't it, down there? I'm not sure who was playing on Henry at the time. My check was up, but it was up against Plowman, but Henry come in from the side. He's got serious hops, this kid, when he launches at the footy.
He was a sub last week, replacing Mason Cox. He kicked 4 goals against Freo Ollie Henry. He connects from 50 here with a set shot right to the city end, all the way. And the Pies have 3 straight. 3 straight 18. Carlton 2-1-13. We've just hit time on first term here on ABC Sport. This is Grandstand AFL.
He's a nice player, Ollie Henry, isn't he? He probably was by himself in his forward 50, but a good grab nonetheless. But to go back and kick it like he did there, that was a good sign from a young player.
Well, he did an article during the week talking about how he had the yips 2 weeks ago and didn't, was thinking, don't miss. And obviously spent a lot of time working on that, not just from his for the goal kicking, but also a mindset point of view. So to go back with your first set shot today, obviously last week gave him a lot of confidence, didn't it? So knocked it through, and hopefully big things still to come for Ollie and that forward line for Collingwood.
Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sports. St Kilda and North Melbourne at Docklands. Ben Cameron.
Jason Horne-Francis has just hit the post to bring it back to 47 points, but St Kilda well in control, not far from the final siren. They'll be winning convincingly.
Thanks, Ben. Mason Cox gets the clearance for Collingwood, kicks towards half forward. Lipinski onto it. Great tackle laid by Newman. The footy stuck underneath those two, and the umpire will throw it up 65 metres out from Collingwood's goal. At the city end, the Magpies in front by 5.
Just joining us, Jacob Wiedering subbed out for the Blues. Jack Carroll in. Away it comes. Nunes hand pass, a little too hot for the Koning. Swatted away by Elliott of the Pies. Picked off here, Pendlebury turns, sends a right boot inside forward 50, out to a 2-on-2. Plowman into the back. gives away the free kick, or was it a free kick going Carlton's way? Advantage paid, picked off here by Nunes. Hand pass stolen away by Elliott. Pies get the footy back. Adams back to Hoskin. Elliott tumbles a high ball inside forward 50. Up in front now, there Mychek. Roved here by Henry. Goes the big don't argue on Doherty. Kicks towards goal. It's touched through for a minor score. That's Collingwood's first blemish. 3-1-18 plays 2-1-13. 22 gone first term. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Latest news out of the Blues is that it's an AC joint for Wiedering, so not sure if that's better than a serious shoulder injury. I'll leave that up to the medical experts.
Well, I'm not a medical expert, but it's much better.
We'll take that. Sard straight down the middle for the Blues. Short to Plowman. He in turn kicks it short to Chera. Still inside the defensive 50.
Well, I think AC joints are normally 6 to 8
6
weeks.
to 8, yeah. Chera sends it along to the members' side. Tom de Koning's there. Mason Cox reaches over, spoils it down. Durden tries to run onto it hard against the boundary, and he's taken over the line. Bit of a bump from Braden Maynard as well. Throw in right below our commentary box. Collingwood leading by 6 points. A couple of lead changes in this opening term.
And Pies with back-to-back goals. Umpire heaves it back in. Mason Cox up in front. Out the back here, though. The hand pass fired out. Now they can rebound the football. Chera got the hand pass off to Hewitt. High ball up inside towards the paint of 50. Knocked away in defence by the Pies. At the drop here, Crisp. Dummies the hand pass. Goes the fend on Plowman. Works a hit to Ginnivan. He has a bounce 65 from goal. Empty goal square. Ginnivan checks the kick. Goes shorter here. It's with Henry. Runs straight into Nick Newman, and he's going to say holding the ball. The tackler rewarded. Carlton free kick from full back, Nick Newman.
Not a great kick from Ginnivan in there coming in. Needed to
50 as well.
Give it a little bit of air, I reckon, and just allow him to get over the back.
Yeah. Well, it was sort of his go to go all the way, Jack Ginnivan. So Newman marched 50.
Was that for time wasting, was it? Not giving the ball back?
Yeah, or some sort of descent. Newman drives it long up the corridor. Inside 50, spoil away from Darcy Moore at the drop to Goey. Hand pass worked out wide here. Nick Dacos ducking the tackle. Great work it was by Nunes. Footy comes loose here for Oscar to the Pies.
Gets the hand pass to John Noble. He can work it forward to Crisp. Marks on the AFL logo on the outer side. Feeds the hand pass boundary side to Lipinski. Up to Elliott, who's free at left half forward. They've got options long. Ginnivan's pushed forward. He's all on his own. Charges in. Top of the goal square. Hits the post. And a few of the Carlton players let him know about it. Lockie Plowman's there. Lewis Young and Jack Ginnivan charging into the right forward pocket. Got to the top of the goal square and flared it left into the top of the left goal post. An opportunity goes begging. Collingwood by 7.
It's probably always going to happen after last week, wasn't it?
Calm the bus.
The kick out, stock up, beyond defensive 50. Murphy marks for Collingwood. That right half forward, tumbles to ground, gets up, takes his kick, goes short here to Josh Dacos. Dacos assesses the options, drives it long inside forward 50. Mason Cox a running start, up he goes, at the drop, Adams shoved out of it. Plowman hand pass for the Blues out wide, Doherty, and now Hewitt. The former Swan just turns it beyond defensive 50. Maynard in from behind there. Cripps with the spoil. A drop. Cottrell to get some run going here. Hand pass out in space again. Newman beaten to it this time by Murphy. Durden in there as well. Good bump. Cottrell on more. Footy comes loose here. Where's Motlop? He sockers toward the flank. He's going to be beaten here as he's outnumbered. Maynard, good shepherd. Picked up here by Nick Dacos. Umpire says it's all okay. Oh, it's still alive here in the pocket. Pendlebury dumped by Cottrell. Footy comes loose. Going in hard again. Pendlebury. Hand pass back. And they can work it away. It's out of bounds on the full. He'll say it was touched, Murphy, but it's going to be out of bounds on the full here. Carlton ball from left half forward. It's the Pies by 7 points, 25 gone first term.
Great pressure by both teams there. It's hot.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Doherty short to Fisher. Has Nunes free. Hand passes to him just outside 50. Kicks inside 50. Wide of Cottrell. Savani tries to run onto it. He's tackled. Got it back to Cottrell. Hand pass to Hewitt. Trying to find a way forward. Hand pass to de Koning. Standing start from 45. He drags it right. And a minor score. Collingwood by 6 points. We play 25 minutes opening term. Let's cross back to Docklands, St Kilda and North Melbourne. Ben Cameron.
Yeah, full time in this fixture, Clinchy. So the Saints 16-7, 103 have defeated North 7-8, 50. A 53-point win. Brad Hill with 33 disposals. In terms of the goal kickers, Max King with 3.
Thank you, Ben. It's the Saints by 53 there. Pies have the footy through Maynard in the junction of defensive 50. Punt right end. Called to play on now. High toward the members' wing. Cox is looking underneath it by for Koning, and he takes a towering mark on the wing here, the big blue.
Wants to give the hand pass behind to Sam Doherty. One of the inspirational stories of 2022, long towards Durden and Cripps. Durden flew from the back, worked it down to the front. Nunes couldn't run onto it. Ginnivan tries to slap it to Maynard's advantage. Or Crisp, who hand passed himself in the end, made it work. Gets the hand pass to Cameron. Now to Josh Dacos. Standing restart. A spiralling barrel towards Jamie Elliott. Could have been spoiled into the back by Nick Newman. No whistle as the ball ricochets to Josh Dacos at half-back. Couple of bounces, he runs across half-back. Hand pass to Geordie to Goey. Kicks laterally to the run of Howe. It's just out in front of him, but he has enough time to gather in front of Silvani.
Messy kick though. Might look okay for Adams. Gathering on the outer wing. Works his way around. Silvani goes right, now left. His kick not so great either, but it will work out okay. Onto the chest of Mychek. He wheels and goes 65 from goal. High ball towards the pocket. Up they go. Spoil from De Koning coming through. It's still alive. Lipinski chased it toward the goal square, but it's rushed through for a minor score. So Collingwood now 3-3-21. Carlton 2-2-14. 28 minutes now played in the opening term. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy.
They're going to have to rely a bit on Tom De Koning working hard and supporting the defence today, because they're sort of lacking out a bit of height and a bit of support in the air with Wiedering going out.
Sam Doherty with the kick-in duties. Long towards Patrick Cripps. Spoiled away by Maynard. And he claimed the mark. He thinks he did, and the umpire agrees. In front of the members here. And Braden Maynard has it. He's still 70 metres out from home. Call to play on. So sends it towards the teeth of goal. Mychek has a run at it. Elliott in from the side. Cameron there as well. A chance still for Jamie Elliott at the back. He's tackled and can't break clear. And the umpire will throw it up. Or will he? No, a push in the back. So a rather careless free kick given away there from Carlton. Jack Nunes. Was that a sling tackle, did you think? I think that's what he's paid for.
I was just about to say how much I was loving the hard contest, the big hits. I thought it hadn't been over-umpired until that decision just then. I don't think that's a sling tackle.
So Jack Nunes obviously pinned Jamie Elliott's hands, arms, and then sort of threw him to the turf. His head hit the turf, and that's what the umpire deemed was unnecessary, aggressive tackling. So Jamie Elliott with one goal already this afternoon, deep in the right forward pocket, 25 metres out, but a tight angle. Jamie comes in and misses to the right-hand side. A minor score. So Collingwood leading by 8 points. They've won 6 of their opening first quarters through the opening 10 rounds. Carlton with 7, so both have been good starters.
Kick out from Doherty, long beyond defensive 50 to Koning. Got some separation on Cameron and takes another towering mark. Lays off the hand pass. Nunes. Wrong foot's Adams. Will switch across half-back. It's an untidy kick though. Chasing it there, Hoskin Elliott. Beats Cottrell to the footy. Cottrell goes again. Nice second effort from Cottrell. And the blood nut brings it away off half-back. Up the outer side. Up over to Silvani, who marks leading up from half-forward. He's a long way from home though. 80 out. Works his way around the mark. Goes inside forward 50. Darcy Moore though. It was too deep. The kick, and Moore takes the intercept in the left back pocket. Comes across the defensive goal mouth, where it's marked by Cameron in the right back pocket.
Can give the hand pass away to Josh Dacos, who looks up the wing. Ginnivan has space. He takes the mark. Should have had a goal next to his name. He doesn't. He pulls his kick. Asking a bit of Taylor Adams in from the side against Newman. Spoiled down to the front. To go he gathers just as a siren sounds. He kicks inside 50. And the first quarter is in the books. An entertaining first quarter which had plenty of action. And for Carlton fans, an early substitution with Jacob Wiedering out of the match. And all of a sudden, it means Jack Carroll comes in. So a player who's been so instrumental for the Blues in their one-on-one battles inside the defensive 50 will take no further part in the match. Quarter time at Docklands in this Sunday afternoon blockbuster. It's Collingwood leading by 8 points, 3-4-22 to the Blues, 2-2-14. For the Magpies, goals to Elliott, Sidebottom and Henry. Meanwhile, for Carlton, their goals have come through Curnow and Durden. If you want to join the conversation with us, 0437 774 774 is the SMS line into the ABC commentary box. And earlier, St Kilda winners by 53 points over North Melbourne, with Max King booting 3 goals. The final match of the round, of course, taking place from South Australia at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide taking on Essendon. And we'll take you there at the completion of this game. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Can art and creativity heal invisible wounds?
It takes a lot to come out and talk about mental health.
Now, a unique social experiment hosted by Natalie Bassingthwaite harnesses the healing quality of art.
All will be revealed.
To find out if art can build a brighter future for our mental health.
I think you found your thing.
Wow.
You've nailed it.
Space 22, Tuesday nights on ABC TV or log in to stream on ABC iView.
This is Sir Doug Nichols' Round
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Watch Dacos off a step. Cameron unmarked on the wing, coming late. Good spoil it was, eventually coming late from Lewis Young. They go inside, quick to hear the Pies. It's marked by Elliott. He's 35 out on a slight angle to the right. Jamie Elliott, 4 goals 3 this season. Slight angle better than 45 degrees in the right forward pocket. Makes no mistake. And the Pies have the first.
Cox in the ruck against Saccone. Comes away of Carlton. Puchera kicks low. Curno's got it. Coming out of the lead, down low to his right. He was able to clunk it. Charlie Curnow. Here he is leading the Collingwood from 45 metres out. He kicks the Blues first.
Chera on the right boot just sends it up the line now. Howe floats across, won't control the mark. Durden swoops in, claims it here, 60 from goal. Neat entry as well towards the pocket. No one's back there in the goal square. Bouncing through. Corey Durden. Up they go again at the drop though to Goey. Roved it into the back of him. Great work it was from Plowman. Ball still alive here for Lipinski. Check side from the pocket across the face. Marked by Sidebottom. Just went required 15. He plays on and dumps it through for the Pies second.
The Sir Doug Nichols Round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Sunday afternoon footy from the MCG. Collingwood leading Carlton by 8 points. 3-4-22 to the Blues 2-2-14. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg calling the action. Jess Webster down the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio are your experts. Let's get a wrap from Docklands. St Kilda 53-point winners over North Melbourne. Here's Ben Cameron.
Yeah, thank you, Clinchy. 16-7, 103. St Kilda have defeated North Melbourne 7-8-50, as you mentioned. A 53-point win the way of St Kilda. They really set it up late in the first quarter and then through a period in the second term. There was only 1 goal kicked in the second term, which was from Cooper Sharman, but a 5-goal consecutive run coming from the Saints that set up their win. Also, Mitch Owens, he was able to kick his his first goal in AFL footy, and then his second about 73 seconds later. Max King, he finished up with 3 goals. Bradley Hill finished up with 33 disposals, leading all comers. What it means for the Saints is they actually move into 4th on the AFL ladder, the live AFL ladder, but that's dependent on what happens with Carlton. The Saints by 53 points, Clinchy, over North.
Thank you, Ben. Ben Cameron there. The lonely finger making his way around the boundary with the big puffer jacket on was Jacob Wiedering. His arm in a sling and a water bottle in his right arm, so he'll sit at the back of the bench for the rest of the afternoon. Michael Voss and Craig McRae are addressing their charges. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, it looked quite dangerous there early on in the game. The first 10 minutes I thought that Carlton were going to run away with it there for a period. And then as soon as Jacob Wiedering went off, it looked like the Blues were a little bit shell-shocked, to be honest. And they sort of thought, oh, geez, that's one of our best players gone down. And they just looked a little bit reactionary from there and just couldn't quite get their game going. So I'm not sure in terms of what they'll do structure-wise. I think they might just put Jack Newnes back and play a little bit smaller down there and have Jack Carroll come up and play on a wing. So I don't think it'll change too much unless they feel that they're getting done in terms of in the air, and maybe a Jack Silvani might go down there from time to time to try and support. But I think it'll just be mainly reliant on Tom DeConning going back and supporting in general play their defence in the air.
Well, I think they're lucky in that they're playing a side that doesn't play overly tall in their front end. That'll mean that they can play the smaller types. But for mine, it's they're winning the clearances, but I feel like if Collingwood can get somewhat on top or nullify the clearance work in their tap work from Mason Cox, Darcy Cameron, they can really stretch and test out Tom DeConning because he's got to carry the workload. Jack Silvani will go in there and chop him out every now and again. What impressed me though was Collingwood's ability to set up defensively, and they probably had larger periods of keeping the ball inside their forward 50 versus Carlton. But Carlton, they've had their 19 inside 50s for that first quarter, so they're getting their looks, but they're probably just been a little bit bomby at times, and we know how well that Darcy Moore can come off, Jeremy Howe, Braden Maynard's had a couple of good contests, so that's going to be the key for Carlton when they're going forward. Can they find Charlie Curnow? Can they find their smalls on the burst? So great contest so far.
You mentioned the inside 50s +4 Carlton's way. Ball winners here. Adams has had 9. Josh Dacos 8 for the Pies, 11 for Hewitt of the Blues, and Sard has 10. Second term underway as they go forward here. Collingwood towards half forward. Trapped by Ollie Henry. Floats a hand pass wide. To go. He is unmarked. Flying shot from 45 in the first 20 seconds of the second term. The Pies have 3 straight goals. 4-4-28 their score. Carlton 2-2-14. 25 seconds have elapsed in the second quarter at the MCG on Grandstand AFL.
Just how about the reach and handball from Ollie Henry? I thought it was Scotty Pendlebury there, the way in which he sort of just reached up with the one mitt and just hand passed it over the right to Jordan DeGoey by himself. He'd run forward from the centre square, and unfortunately the Carlton players were sort of left on their heels from the centre square bounce, but great start by the Pies.
Someone was standing next to him at that centre bounce, I would have thought, so someone's got to be wary going defensively. We saw Cripps come to him late, but just someone else was peeling off, I think.
I think you're saying it's Paddy Cripps, which I think it was.
Might have been. I'm not throwing him under the bus. Good player.
5 of the last 6 scoring shots as well in the Pies.
Of course, the Blues had that burst in the second quarter against Sydney. They kicked 9 goals to 3. Collingwood with the opening goal here. Cameron doing the ruck work against DeConing. At ground level, Cameron tries to scrap for it. Cripps over the top of the footy. They all turn to the umpire. And he'll say there was no prior opportunity. Plenty of numbers around this stoppage as the umpire tosses it in the air. Cameron knocks it down for Collingwood. To Dow. Cameron, great follow-up tackle. Big men aren't meant to do that. He wins a free kick for holding the footy. And then quickly releases a hand pass to Maynard. A chaos kick inside 50. Awkward bouncing ball for Elliott. Couldn't gather. Newman didn't clear the area. Lipinski with a hand pass to Sidebottom. Couldn't work. And now Walsh back to Dow. Dumped in a tackle. Sidebottom over the top with Lipinski. And they might win a free kick here. No opportunity being given or warranted here for Sam Walsh in the eyes of the umpire. And Collingwood to steal Sidebottom will take it just outside 50. Wants to go short to Pendlebury. Is that 15? Umpire says yes.
Been waxing for a lot of years, these two, haven't they? You just understand each other's game. Thought he might have pulled up on it a little bit too quickly, Scotty, and it's going to be knocked out of his hands, but some of the biggest hands you'll see, Scott Pendlebury, for a bloke that stands 190. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just lays this up or tries to find a late target.
I was going to say, surely a 34-year-old beyond 50, this is going to be asking his best. He does just that, puts it to the top of the goal square. Big fly from DeConing. It gets to the back. Stocker trying to rush it through. Still alive for Collingwood. Mychek over it, trying to drop it on his boot. Tyler Brown's there, and eventually it is through for a minor score.
That's called knowing your length. And I suppose after 343 games, you'd probably know it pretty well, wouldn't you?
Doherty to kick out for the Blues. Looks at the options up the line, but front at the on-defensive 50 wide. Out to the members' wing. Silvani running start. Spoil from behind from Howe. Out the drop. Chris plays a tackle. The umpire will ball it up. Chera hands it back to the umpire.
So Collingwood by 15 points as we welcome listeners from the Northern Territory, from St Kilda and North Melbourne. Matt Clinch, Brett Sprigg, Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio and Jess Webster with you as the Pies kick inside 50, and a great mark claimed by Jamie Elliott from the kick from Josh Dacos inside 50. After the Pies led by 8 points at quarter time, they kicked the opening goal of the second quarter and a chance to extend their lead.
I've loved the work of Josh Dacos so far in this game. Had the 9 disposals, going at 86% by foot. He's just playing out on that wing. He's really controlling. He's changed direction a couple of times, but great both sides of the body. When we talk about this bloke, Jamie Elliott, and his ability above his head, that was a great catch. Second or third in line.
So missed 5 weeks with a shoulder injury. But back in the Collingwood lineup again. So important to their structure. Elliott shooting for his second. It won't quite have the purchase. It's out to the right, and in the end rushed through for a minor score. Collingwood by 16 points, 4 minutes gone, second term.
Earlier, Saints by 53 at Docklands over North Melbourne. Port and Essendon coming up. We'll keep you across that at Adelaide Oval. Doherty again takes his time with the kick out. For a few steps, dumps it long beyond defensive 50. Darcy Cameron up in front. Can't pull in the mark. Walsh pulled out of it here for the Blues. Still alive here for the Pies. Out the drop, Tyler Brown. Arrives to it, shrugs the Chera tackle. No, he doesn't. Good effort from Adam Chera to hang on. And it's holding the ball. The former Docker at right half back. They work their way through the corridor. It's well worked now. It comes out to Stocker. He kept running by. His kick, though, not so pretty. And diving in to take a mark low to his left is Murphy at centre-half back for Collingwood. He flares it across to the right half-back area for Quaynor, and up the line he finds Sidebottom.
Still, Sidebottom goes for a run on the southern side. Looks at options further afield. Decides to go short to Hoskin Elliott. The hand pass to Quaynor back inboard. Drives Collingwood long into attack. Myercheck's there. Clears him. And Ollie Henry at the back. Zach Fisher runs onto it for the Blues. Hand pass to Doherty. Too high for Nunes. Hard against the boundary. Lipinski got it to Henry. Squares the kick. Kinnaman, here he is. Collingwood just kept it alive. And in the end, a good squaring kick from Ollie Henry finds Jack Ginnivan. This time we'll try and make sure of it.
He's got an uncanny ability to turn up at the right place at the right time. Jack Ginnivan, doesn't he? He's just always dangerous. He's like a little sprinkler. Just pops up.
Pop-up sprinkler, exactly.
Yeah. Comes from nowhere. Real forward craft. Love it.
He's running into the open goal in the first quarter. Hit the post. Jack Ginnivan comes in. And this time he misses to the left. Only from about 25 metres out directly in front. So doesn't mind the attention, but has failed to deliver so far through the opening 6 minutes in the second quarter. Collingwood by 17.
I think the Freo fans like that one, as well as the Carlton fans. Oh, huge fly, Motlop on the outer side. Couldn't finish off the mark. It's won by Sidebottom. He floats a hand pass forward. Still alive here, Lipinski. Clever hand pass over the back here, running by Hoskin Elliott. Goes inside 50, spoiled away by Nunes on Henry. At the back here, Walsh for the Blues. He can work it on the 45, or it's marked by Newman at left half back. So they survive that attacking entry for the Pies. Carlton just chip it across the outer side. Here is Motlop. And his third AFL game, special round for him. We know what a famous football family he comes from. And now it's Shearer under some pressure, goes inside forward 50. Darcy Cameron floats across and takes the mark.
They need to keep going there, didn't they, Carlton? They had the outnumber. They just didn't go quick enough. They had the extra getting free.
Collingwood by 17 points. Cameron short to Nick Dacos, drives it up to the wing. Hoskin Elliott was able to get rid of his opponent, Newman. Then gets a hand pass forward to Lipinski. Motlop off his chase. He kicks to Elliott on the lead. He marks just outside 50. Hard up against the boundary. At right half forward. Cox is heading long towards the goal square. Only Henry is there as well. Elliott's looking for something shorter. He puts it in towards the pocket, asking Mason to overfly. Walsh set himself in front, brings it down to Sard. Squeeze the kick towards Chera in the left back pocket. Hand pass to Walsh. He drives the kick out of defence towards Newman. Tries to use his body against Sidebottom. Down in front is O'Brien. He's tackled by Murphy. Gets the hand pass to Owies and back to Newman for the Blues.
Magpies by 17 here. Chera for the Blues. Uses the southern side out to the one-on-one. Trying to control the football. Curnow tangled up there with Moore. Moore does well at the second effort. Oh, bad info though and lost the footy. Owies, great pressure. Tackle rewarded. Free kick Carlton for Matthew Owies.
It's almost like he didn't see him there, did he?
Went to sleep.
That's his first effort of the game. It's his first touch as well, Matthew Owies. So his first bit of presence. And here they come up the southern side. It's with Hewitt. Again, he takes his time to assess the options. Pokes it on. Down to Owies. He's 60 from goal at the city end. Wheels around now. Long to the hot spot. Floating across to Koning. At the drop. They're giving a shove down there. Dow. They ricochet the footy away here. The Pies defenders, it comes with the goey. Off half back. Has room to bounce. Oh, there's no look hand pass here for Crisp. Worked away. Further still here as it comes back to Crisp from Cameron. Up inside forward 50. Getting back there Henry. Well positioned. He beat them all back there and takes the chest mark. 35 out, slightly left of centre.
It was well worked there by Collingwood, going coast to coast from an inside 50 from Matty Owies. They just found an extra out the back somehow, and Carlton actually had a +1 all set up, ready to go, but they just almost outworked them there.
Certainly did. Young Ollie might have had an opportunity just to move that on to Jamie Allard, who's pleading for it, but if you don't kick it to your teammate, you've got to make sure you kick the goal.
Already has one this afternoon, Ollie Henry. To say he kicked 4 last week. The set shot here from 35 is across the face to the right-hand side. Another behind here for the Pies. At one stage had 3 goals straight there. 4-8-32. Margin of clean 3 goals. 2-2-14 Carlton. 10 go in second term.
It's all Collingwood in their second quarter. 1 goal forward to the Blues, yet to score. As Spriggy mentioned, Collingwood by 18 points. Sard plays on. Gets to the left back pocket, wants to take Darcy Cameron on. Gets a good block from Plowman. allows him to kick up to the southern wing. Murphy in front of Owies, couldn't take the mark, but does get the hand pass away to Nick Dacos. Thought about the hand pass to Chris, then turned back boundary side. He had it under control, the young Pie. Up towards Cameron and Hoskin Elliott. Spoiled down by Plowman. Lipinski tries to rip the footy clear. Plowman for the Blues gets a hand pass out to Hewitt, to Walsh. He has it at left half back. Kicks over the head of Durden towards Charlie Curnow, a 2-on-1. House slaps it away and wins the battle for Collingwood. Gets it to Murphy. Kicks straight towards the boundary line. Lipinski pinched it from O'Brien. Kicks around his body to a vacant half-forward line.
Bouncing towards the flank. Worked away here by Plowman. Out to a teammate though. Hewitt slips the tackle of Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass back to Walsh. Standing start. High ball up the outer wing. Floating across and taking a very comfortable mark is Nathan Murphy. They'll bring it across to Noble. And they'll switch here from right to left, the Pies. With an 18-point lead in their keeping. Comes wide now to Josh Dacos. And he'll come to the members' wing for Ginnivan. Ginnivan keeps it moving. By foot he finds Crisp. So Crisp tumbles here. And controls the ball just forward of the wing. It's a cool afternoon. As we approach the twilight of this Sunday, Crisp has shanked the kick off the outside of his boot and it's gone down Doherty's throat at right half back for the Blues. Collingwood by 18 points, 11 going second quarter here at the MCG.
Doherty around the members' wing finds Paddy Cripps. He can go shorter still, and Sam Walsh has it, still defensive side of the members' wing. He's got options on the boundary side, and now he spots them. Doherty is one. He marks in front of the race and advances it further just inside the line to Nick Newman. Turns and comes inboard, finds Nunes. All of a sudden the Blues ball movement, it just becomes stagnant a bit. As Nunes goes very short to Chera, still hasn't quite passed right half forward. Charlie Curnow's deep in the goal square. Silvani in the right forward pocket. Sends it more central to that. To Coney in the target. Cox is there. Spoils it down. Gathered by Darcy Moore. Hand pass to Nick Dacos in the back pocket. Sends Collingwood to half back. Cameron's there. Gives away the free kick. Too high against Stocker. He'll take the free kick back for the Blues at right half forward. Collingwood by 18 points.
A lot worse than it was. He's the bigger man, isn't he? Stocker.
Certainly is.
With a free kick. Goes up inside forward 50 and finds the marking target, Cripps. Arms above the head, takes the mark, 40 out on a 45-degree angle.
It's a very clever kick there by Liam Stocker. He just saw the outmatched Paddy Cripps against Taylor Adams there and just put it into the space and let Patrick Cripps run onto it. And he'll have a shot here from 40 on a 45-degree angle.
I need it, I reckon. This one, it's a big kick.
Captain's goal.
Maybe.
So a milestone approaching. 148th game today. Three-time best and fairest at the Blues. The skipper. They're down by 18 points. He's on the approach. Works with the left-hand goal post, but it comes back superbly. Didn't Carlton need that in this second term? 3-2-20. They trail Collingwood, who are 4-8-32. 13 and a half going second quarter here on Grandstand AFL via ABC Sport. Brett Deledio and Mark Murphy.
Sorry, mate, you go.
Well, they needed that badly. They haven't really looked like it at all this quarter, and Collingwood should really be 5 or so goals up. They just haven't kicked straight, but as I said, smart kick there by Liam Stocker, and Paddy Cripps was actually on Crisp. That one?
That tongue twister, yeah. You spoke about it, Clinchy, though, their slow, stagnant ball movement. I think that's as a result of Collingwood actually playing a pretty good system defence, and they're guarding a lot of space, so it's forcing Carlton to play a bit of a chip mark game, and it took that really nice kick to be able to get in that look inside. If they can find those gaps, they'll kick goals, but if they keep bombing it, I think Collingwood will keep lapping it up.
The voice of Brett Deledio alongside Mark Murphy, Matt Clinch, Brett Sprigg and Jess Webster with you on ABC Sport. The Blues' first goal since the 12-minute mark of the opening term. To go, he can't break away from the clearance. Then Adams with a big tackle. Locked the footy to Hewitt's chest. It spills now clear to Chera. A clearance for the Blues. Here's Charlie. Can't take the mark out in front, but he's still onto it. 50 out from goal. Hand pass to Fisher. Cuts back on his left to Cripps. Hand pass away to Walsh. Turns and snaps on his right and bounces through another. Back-to-back goals for Carlton. And a couple of their big movers in Paddy Cripps and Sam Walsh leading the charge. Collingwood's lead is back to 6 points. The Pies 4-8-32 to Carlton 4-2-26. 14 minutes gone second term. A couple of goals in a couple of minutes for the Blues.
And you're right, Clinchy, the two of their prime movers stepping up to the plate and producing kicking goals as midfielders, but it's a centre square bounce work that they've actually, I think, kicked 3 out of their 4 goals, the Blues. So
Chera's had a hand in nearly all
Chera's
of them.
had a hand in, I think all three of them. So it's certainly an area of the game that the Pies are going to have to clean up, because that's where Carlton look their most dangerous, when they can get 1v1s forward of the football. And obviously when you do that from the centre square bounce, it's hard for Howe and Moore to come off and intercept.
Jacob Wiedering subbed out in the first term with what sounds like an AC joint injury to his shoulder. So Jack Carroll out there. Restart back in the middle. Chera first, hands to it for the Blues. Hand pass off to O'Brien. Given tackles him. Gets it away in time though. Back here to Hewitt. Dummies the hand pass around Cox. Wrong foots him. Goes towards half forward. Chest mark taken. Again, this time by Jack Carroll, who was the sub made. Playing up forward here, Carroll. 55 from goal. Wheels around. Left peg. High towards the pocket. And just spoiled over the boundary line by Nathan Murphy. So a stoppage deep in attack for the Blues at the City end. They trail by just 6 points now. 4-8 plays 4-2. 16 going here, second term.
Pretty brave. Jack Carroll just jumping in. Charlie Curnow slips through.
Very brave. Look for a little Zach Fisher running on the left foot here.
Throwing back in, the Blues deep in attack. Cox in front, wins down the tap. Josh Dacos over around the footy. Here is Fisher right on cue. Can't keep the ball live as he's tackled out of play in the right forward pocket for the Blues. City end of the MCG. Collingwood by 6 points. Pies with the first goal this second quarter. Carlton with the last two. Thrown back into play to Koning and Cox. Cox up early. De Koning wins down the tap. Adams is there for Collingwood. Retreats back to Murphy. Kicks a high ball towards halfback. Darcy Cameron comes out. Young there with him. Spoils it down. De Goey's quick kick. Couldn't clear O'Brien for the Blues. Hand pass to Sard. To Hewitt. Swings the hips and gets around De Goey. Kicks inside 50. Where's Charlie? He comes out. Spoiled away once more by Murphy. Doing a good job with Moore. And the ball goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Blues.
A few repeat entries there for Carlton. The coaching staff would love seeing that. Lewis Young doing well down there with Lockie Plowman, setting the ball up really well.
Pies by 6. Back in it comes. Coming to the front. Missed by John Noble in defence. Puts a tackle here on Chera and he's taken high. So Carlton free kick. Deep in attack. And Adam Chera will go back here, only 20 out in the right forward pocket.
This is a result as of what you just spoke about, Murph. They're just constant repeat 50s. It's probably the first time they've really been able to control it in their front half. It just shows it puts the defence and the Collingwood mids under pressure.
It's been one of their best today, Adam Chera.
One stage inside 50s were 8-4 Collingwood's way in this second term. They've sort of pegged that back here, the Blues, and they can level things up here. This set shot through Chera is straight and true. Scores are level here at the MCG on Sunday afternoon. Carlton 5-2-32, Collingwood 4-8-32. 18 played second quarter on ABC Sport. This is Grandstand AFL.
It's been one of their strengths this year, the goal-kicking mids, and they're worth their weight in gold. Lids, we know we love the midfielders who get forward and hit the scoreboard, and Carlton, 3 of their 5 goals today have come from Chera, Walsh and Cripps. So it's something that they've really added to their bow this year, and Chera's coming for Fremantle has really been a handy inclusion for them and been, I think, probably their best player today.
But he had 16 already, had the 4 score involvements, already kicked a goal. His clearance work's been the thing for mine. Out of the middle, he's been
4 clearances, yeah.
4 clearances, and I reckon 3 of those at least would be centre clearances, if not more, if not all of them.
Had just 13 disposals. Adam Chera against Sydney last week, his lowest disposal number for his new club, but influential here early. Back in the middle, Will Hoskin-Elliott for Collingwood gets a clearance, kicks towards Brown, small down by Newman. Hand pass came to Adams, to Crisp, inside 50, Ollie Henry on the lead, good spoil by Stocker. Doherty gets the hand pass out to Nick Newman on defensive 50, to O'Brien backpedaling, risky kick into the middle of the ground. Carroll takes the mark for the Blues.
They stream forward. Carroll off half-back, runs left, looks back to the right. Eventually does send it out wide to Plowman. Slows things down for a moment here. Scores level, 32 apiece. Plowman comes back in field for Stocker. It's only his 3rd game of this year. Goes back to Plowman, not 15, Plowman says the umpire. Now he goes by hand to Stocker. Pressure here as they press back forward here through Myercheck, but the Blues still have the footy. It's marked by Doherty. Pressure coming late from Ginnivan. Illegal contact from Ginnivan, in fact. So the former skipper wins the free kick. Doherty comes inboard now for Sard on the back edge of the square. It's an awkward build-up here for Carlton. They try to find their way forward. Dow marks, lays off the hand pass back to Sard. Can he kick for distance? No, just goes up the line. It's marked 65 from goal by Carroll. Reached up, took the overhead mark, plays on now. High entry, top of the goal square, up goes side-bottom in defence. At the drop, picked up by Murphy of the Pies, brought to ground here by Owies, top of the goal square. The umpire's going to say, let's ball it up at the City end. It's scores level 4-8 plays 5-2, about to hit time on here in the second term from Grandstand AFL.
12 inside 50s apiece in this second quarter. Chris with a quick clearing kick to Murphy, tries to knock it on to Noble, and now becomes the tackler. As Cottrell has the footy locked to him, the umpire will throw it up in the left forward pocket for the Blues. Carlton with 3 straight to Collingwood's 1-4 in this second term. After the Pies led by 8 points at quarter time. Toss back up to Koning, tries to tap it to the boundary. Cripps can't gather. Crisp sockers it off the ground for Collingwood. To Cottrell, hand pass to Cripps, trying to link up with Dow. Was he held? No. Now becomes the tackle on Murphy. Great effort from Paddy Dow, trying to make his moments count back in the senior side, playing his first game since round 23 last year against the Giants.
Up it goes, 450 stoppage for the Blues, brought away by Hoskin Elliott, off to Pendlebury under pressure, squeeze the kick out here. It's only as far as Cottrell, 50 out from goal here for Carlton. Send them back deep in attack and going up and marking again. Nice intercept from Nathan Murphy. He's been doing it all day. And he brings it across the defensive goal mouth here for Quaynor. 4-8 plays 5-2, 32 apiece here. Collingwood Carlton on Sunday afternoon at the MCG. Quaynor thumps it long beyond defensive 50 members side. 3-on-2, reaching up from behind Tyler Brown. Ricochets down towards O'Brien for the Blues. Out here Newman, hand pass inboard. Oh, he's crunched, big tackle. Lost the footy. Great pressure it was from the Pies, and Jamie Elliott gets up to his feet. Maybe he winded himself in that bit of contact there on that tackle. The umpire ball up at half forward for Carlton.
Scores level, 32 apiece from the throw. Cripps comes up with it. Charges Carlton forward. Hand pass to Owies on 50. Gets around a lunging Howe. Kicks to the pocket. It's too wide. And out of bounds on the fall. Darcy Moore took the mark, canning into the fence. He had it all under control. And has it up against the left behind post in the Magpies defensive 50. Drives a kick in the direction of Mason Cox and Darcy Cameron up. Big Mason takes the mark. With the goggles, seeing as clear as daylight as he takes the mark on half-back for the Pies. Looks around the members' wing. Meyer checked the marking target from the back. Ollie Henry almost pinched it, couldn't take the mark. Plowman's hand pass picked off by Myercheck. On all fours, tries to fight for it. Lays the tackle on Newman. Brown with a kick towards the top of the 50. And Sam Doherty takes the mark for Carlton. Back inside the defensive 50, and Adam Sard has it.
Sard will switch it back to Doherty. And at right half-back. Short kick up the line to Lockie O'Brien. It's his 50th AFL game today, Lockie O'Brien. Up the members' side he goes. Cripps worked underneath it. Now there by Josh Dacos, or a free kick going the Carlton skipper's way.
Not sure you can do that. Just tunnel him, just jump straight into his back.
You're going to have to disguise it a bit better at least.
Paddy Cripps has Walsh running by, gets the hand pass off to him. Walsh will kick up inside forward 50. Look for Charlie Curnow. In from the side of the spoil from Howe. Darcy Moore's hand pass swept out wide here for Maynard. Evades Motlop. Kicks infield now. Doherty coming late to make the contest. Elliott. He's not paid the mark. Ball comes to the ground. Away they go here. The Pies to Goey. Merges with it. His kick's a shocker as well. It missed the target of Dacos and rolls out of bounds for a throw in. Members side, true centre wing closest to us. It's 4-8-32 the Pies. The Blues are 5-2-32. The same score. 24 goal in second term here at a packed MCG on Sunday afternoon.
Looks like they're just feeling themselves out still at the moment, doesn't it?
Sam Doherty with 19 disposals leading the way in this match. 10 in the second quarter from the throw-up. Dow works it in the middle of the ground for the Blues to Stocker. Too sharp in the end for Carroll, who had it spoiled away, and Josh Dacos swoops onto it for Collingwood. At the back edge of the centre square. Looks out to the southern side of the ground. Kick for Ginnivan, won't make it to him. And Sard takes the intercepting mark for Carlton. Flares it out under the Shane Warne stand, and the mark's taken by Cottrell.
Matt Cottrell again just slows things down. Third-year player. Goes high inside forward 50, a little too deep though, through the fingertips of Howe, picked up by Curnow, 45 out, snaps towards goal, all the way, Charlie Curnow. We speak about how he is at ground level, didn't have much time, much space, but had enough. And Charlie Curnow, our Coleman leader, has two this afternoon. Carlton go back ahead, 6-2-38. Collingwood 4-8-32. 25 go on second term grandstand AFL.
We'll talk about making something out of absolutely nothing. Charlie Curnow didn't even really look like it there. It looked like an intercept there from Howe. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get his hands around the ball and just dropped it ground. And Charlie Curnow just picked it up off his laces and threw it on the boot like he does. And just from the moment he kicked it, it just looked like it was going straight through. So there's the talent of the Coleman medalist.
Good to see him back in full flight, isn't it? We spoke to Brad Lloyd about it earlier today. When do you see him full flight, him and Mackay when he comes back?
Yeah.
They're a very potent front half.
Probably the most dangerous double act potentially in the AFL when you think of Lynch and Revolt and Kennedy and Darling in the yesteryear for the West Coast Eagles. Back in the middle, Pendlebury gets the clearance, hand pass to Degoe to Crisp through the middle for Collingwood. Lipinski, hand pass to Degoe, kick smothered by Sard. Great effort from the Blues. Hand pass to Hewitt, who works it to Cottrell. Hand pass to Chera on the southern wing. He looks wider still. Back with a flight, courageous from Cottrell, couldn't take the mark. Oh, he slipped over. Noble for the Pies. Hand pass away. Lipinski got it to Quaynor. Kicks around the wing. Sard comes in. Spoils it away from Ginnivan. Hoskin Elliott was waiting front and centre. A couple of good moments for Adam Sard in this second term. Blues by 6 points.
Back in it comes. Southern side of the MCG. Cox and Silvani. Unlikely ruck opposition. Hewitt. Hand pass back to Silvani. Works the man forward, hand pass back off to Walsh, and now Cottrell out wide for Motlop. He can get around Howe, shrugs the tackle, nurses the kick up the boundary line where it's marked by Jack Carroll. He's 65 out, sends it on its it's out of bounds on the full. So Collingwood ball at right half back. It's the Blues by 6 points here. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Just a minor concern for Darcy Cameron on the Pies bench. He copped a bit of friendly fire and came straight to the bench and just had a little bit of blood in his mouth. I think he's okay. He's gotten checked out by the doctors, but just a little bit dazed.
I think this is going to be out of play before the kick took place. So
he played on outside, didn't he, I think?
Yeah, so rather than being in the back pocket for Collingwood, it's taken back to half forward for the Blues. Closing in on half time. Carlton have returned to the lead by 6 points. Cox and Silvani doing the ruck work. Silvani got rid of Cox and then gathered the foot. He was tackled immediately by Big Mason, and the umpire will throw it up. Quickly does so. Silvani palms it down to Chera. Hand pass to Hewitt. Links up with Dow. Trying to get around Crisp. He breaks the tackle. Kicks into the pocket. Charlie Curnow comes out. Moore works him underneath it. The two scrap for it now at ground level. Moore with a good tackle. And Quaynor over the top to ensure the ball can't come clear. The umpire will toss it up in the left forward pocket for the Blues, leading by 6 points.
Ball in the air, umpire wastes no time. Cox tries to lay it down, tackled by Jack Silvani. Loose in the pocket, Pendlebury piles on the footy as well, and the umpire will ball it up again. Up it goes. Both rucks missed it. Back forward by Walsh, marked by Noble on the last line here for the Pies, and he brings it across. Defensive goal here for Jeremy Howe.
So Howe, just before the siren of half-time, works it over the top to Josh Dacos, who hand passes inboard to brother Nick. And that's the first half done and dusted. Carlton return to the lead by 6 points thanks to a 4-goal-to-1 second term after Collingwood led by 8 points at quarter time. The Blues 6-2-38 to Collingwood 4-8-32. For Carlton, 2 goals to Charlie Curnow, individuals to Chera, Cripps, Walsh and Durden. Meanwhile, for the Magpies, their goals have come through to Degoe, Elliott, Henry and Sidebottom. Half-time at the MCG, Carlton lead by 6 points. Earlier it was St Kilda, 53-point winners over North Melbourne, with Max King booting 3. We'll hear from Brad Hill shortly. And the final match of the round taking place from the Adelaide Oval. It's Port Adelaide taking on Essendon. We'll take you to the second half of that match at the conclusion of this one at the MCG. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg calling the action. Jess Webster down on the boundary. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, probably after the first 10 minutes in that second quarter, Carlton started to get their game going. They're possessing the ball a lot more than what Collingwood are doing. There's 5 guys with nearly 20 disposals. Oh, well, Hewitt's on 21, Sam Doherty on 19 and Sard on 18, who are running half-back flankers. But Chera's had 19 himself as well as Walsh. So they're not going quick. They're just possessing the ball, trying to work their way through, because the last thing they want to do is go long and strong because Howe and Moore just plays in their hands. But they've got to be a bit more methodical about it, which they're starting to do and start to work their way in terms of getting the game back on their terms. So it did look like they were shell-shocked after Wiedering went down, and then it's sort of within 10 minutes of that start of that second quarter, they started to get their game going a little bit more.
Well, they should have been too, though, because Collingwood had their opportunities in front of goal. They could have really capitalised. I think it's a great lesson for young Ginnivan, and just say, mate, keep respecting the game. You know, he's run into an open goal, hits the post, then gets one dead in front and misses. It's like there's just a little friendly reminder, isn't it, that don't ever disrespect the game of footy, mate, 'cause it always comes back to bite you. But
we've always been told that football's a great leveller. It is. At some point, it'll get you. Very rarely do you go from week to week and just experience the highs. So there's obviously a second half to go, but as you said.
That's it. But I think it's, we spoke about there, Collingwood's ability to guard space, but unfortunately at some stage as they get closer to goal, you've got to tighten that space, and they're continuing to sag off, and that's the reason why they got a couple of those goals late, the Blues, is because they weren't close enough to their direct opponent, which allowed them just to work their way down. They went from centre-half back slow all the way down to the stoppage at the top of the goal square. Well, at some stage, set up strong defensively, but you've still got to close it and make it a contest, you know, so that'll no doubt be the focus of Craig McRae and Justin Lepich and the defensive crew down there for the Pies. So, we're actually guarding some reasonable space here and forcing them slow and long at times, but other times you just got to close that and really make it a contest.
Yeah, because when you do get them slow, then that's the time just to close the space and then to go whack. Because around the ball and in general play, they are actually closing space really well, and pressure's been really, really evident. Something I've been really impressed by Collingwood today is that their attack on the ball and the man's been really first class. It's just when they do slow them up, it does give you a chance then just come over and kill the ball rather than still playing off your man.
But you know as well as I do, it only takes one person to slip up, which causes a chain reaction down the field. You say, well, you just weren't quite on and ready to go on your bloke. There's an easy little chest mark. All right, and then he goes back. Another bloke just switches off for a short amount of time. There's another one. But before you know it, they were at the top of the goal square.
You touched on Jacob Wiedering being subbed out of the match, but Collingwood's forward line hasn't really fired all that much. You mentioned Jack Ginnivan missing a couple of shots on goal, but the four lowest possession getters on the ground for Collingwood: Tyler Brown with 2, Brodie Myercheck with a couple, Mason Cox with 4, and Ollie Henry with 5. So trying to get a bit more pressure, a bit more activity from that forward 50 would be the challenge for Craig McRae.
Yeah, well, Myercheck hasn't really had a look today, and he's a player that I really rate because you just know what you're going to get from him, but he probably hasn't been in enough contests really so far. But look, Collingwood have had their chances. They should have been up by 4 or 5 goals there at one point, and not put the game to bed. But when you're 4 or 5 goals up halfway through a second quarter and you blame your inaccurate kicking, it can be a little bit frustrating for teams when you don't make the most of your opportunity and then your opposition goes down and kicks goal after goal. No doubt they'll be coming in at half-time thinking, we're doing a lot of things well here. Obviously, let's try and kick straight. That's obviously what they'd say. And they wouldn't say it, it's just a given. But I think what they're given... Pardon the pun. But I think that'd be pretty impressive, the way in which they've gone about it. It's a goal in it at half-time and Wiedering out. I think it gives them great hope going forward.
A couple of individuals for the Blues, just touching on the Collingwood forward line. Sam Doherty leads the way behind George Hewitt with 19 disposals. Adam Sards had 10 intercept possessions, and he touched on Adam Chera having a great game with 5 clearances for the match. So
6 inside 50.
Yeah, the Blues midfield dominance. So much of their power is based around their midfield centre forward. They've been once more impressive, and especially in that second quarter, wrestled a bit of the momentum back against Collingwood.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be the key. It's what we spoke to at the start of the game, wasn't it? And we saw almost the very first one of that second quarter. Paddy Cripps just trailing Geordie to go. He smacks a goal through. It's like, righto, there's my little rocket that I needed. And a bit of self-assessment probably to say, right, well, that's never going to happen again. But then they got on, we saw Chera, he come out and had, I reckon, the next 3 centre clearances. Paddy Cripps is involved, gets on the scoreboard. Walsh gets on the scoreboard. So, yeah, that's no doubt where they're best suited, the Carlton team, is they're strong in the midfield, as well as having Charlie Curnow, who's the Coleman leader. But, if they can continue to test them out, it's going to be back on to, Jack Crisp and Taylor Adams, Geordie to go in the midfield for the Pies and say, right, well, we need to level this up a bit. They're just having too much footy.
Well, they've built great depth now, haven't they, Carlton, through the midfield. And Paddy Cripps has had 13 today. He's kicked a goal, but he hasn't been really the shining light and been instrumental. He's just played a part in there today, and other guys around him have had probably more of an influential game so far. But I think if you just say, we'll keep Paddy Cripps quiet, and obviously Walsh he's bobbed up being early on in his career, you'd go a long way to beating Carlton. But at the moment, they've got a lot of contributors in that area.
Thoughts of former Carlton captain Mark Murphy alongside Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport for Collingwood and Carlton this afternoon. More to come, including Port Adelaide and Essendon close out round 11 of the AFL. But let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. China's foreign minister has met with the Pacific Island Forum's Secretary-General in Fiji. Media had been invited to film the opening remarks, but as our Foreign Affairs correspondent Stephen Jedgetts explains, Chinese officials briefly attempted to block the ABC's access before local officials intervened.
This is rather typical of the secrecy and the suspicion that surrounded this entire trip, at least when it comes to Chinese officials. Journalists have had no opportunity so far to put any questions to Wang Yi during this trip. Local journalists in Solomon Islands were told that they weren't allowed to ask a question to him. They boycotted the event as a result. Journalists were kept at a real distance in both Kiribati and Samoa, much to their frustration. And we are seeing, at least so far, a similar pattern here in Fiji, with no real or meaningful access granted to journalists so far.
The Federal Finance Minister Katie Gallagher says a move to implement spending caps on federal election campaigns should be considered. While expenditure caps exist at a state level, at a federal level there are currently no limits on how much parties can raise or spend trying to get elected. Senator Gallagher says money shouldn't be dictating election outcomes.
I think it's definitely a question we should look at and explore further in light of the democracy, how it's working and the impact on elections. But this is for the Parliament to decide, not for individual members.
The Royal Australian College of General Practitioners warns that primary healthcare in Australia is on the verge of collapse. The number of young people choosing to become GPs has dropped to its lowest level in over 5 years. Dr. Isabel Hansen from the RACGP says without proper staffing, wait times for GP appointments will get worse.
This workforce shortage can lead to catastrophic outcomes in Australia because primary care is the backbone of our health system. 80% of healthcare happens in community, and this is management of diabetes, early diagnosis of cancer, management of depression and anxiety.
The head of surgery at Royal Perth Hospital says multiple injuries were sustained during a boating incident at the Horizontal Falls in WA's far north. A dozen patients were flown to Perth from Brisbane with serious injuries after the mishap which occurred at the falls on Friday. 2 patients have since been discharged from RPH. Details of the accident are still unclear, but Dieter Weber says the patients have been treated for a range of injuries.
Injuries such as broken bones, various musculoskeletal injuries, ligament injuries. Other operations have ranged from various orthopaedic procedures and plastic procedures.
Investigators in Texas have started looking at how critical mistakes were made in response to the deadly Uvalde school shooting, which killed 19 students and 2 teachers. Here's David Rowlands.
With calls mounting for an independent probe and criticism of the law enforcement response growing, police from cities as far away as Houston and Dallas have arrived in the town of just over 15,000 people to help support local authorities. They want answers as to why nearly 20 officers remained outside the classroom as children placed panicked 911 calls for help. Investigators are still searching for a motive. Salvador Ramos, an 18-year-old high school dropout, had no criminal record and no history of mental illness, although threatening messages he sent on social media are now coming to light. President Joe Biden will visit Uvalde tonight to pay his respects to the victims.
The United States is criticising what it says are limitations imposed by Chinese officials during a visit by UN Human Rights Chief Michelle Bachelet to the western region of Xinjiang. The Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, says conditions imposed by the Chinese didn't allow for a complete independent assessment of human rights in the region. Ms. Bachelet says she was up front with Chinese authorities during her tour of Xinjiang in the first visit by a UN Human Rights Commissioner to China for 17 years. Updating sports news in the AFL, St Kilda's consolidated its spot in the top 4 with a 53-point thrashing of North Melbourne. Max King booted 3 goals in the 103-50 victory. In the NRL, St George Illawarra spoiled the party as Canterbury celebrated a return to its traditional home ground at Belmore. The Dragons registering back-to-back victories thanks to a 34-24 win. In Super Rugby, the Melbourne Rebels have scored in the final 7 minutes to secure a thrilling 31-30 win over the Hurricanes. And in Super Netball, the Melbourne Vixens remain at the top of the ladder after a hard-fought win over Sunshine Coast Lightning, winning 64 goals to 60. Vixens goalkeeper Emily Manick starred with 4 intercepts and 5 deflections. You've been listening to the latest from ABC News.
Massive interest rate cuts from the
25% increase in
infectious.
Keep across the news that matters to you with the ABC Listen app.
Get up-to-the-minute local, national and world news, live and on demand.
US and NATO officials believe
In-depth investigations from ABC podcasts.
Like Triple J's Hack, ABC News Daily and many more.
all the news that matters to you.
With the ABC Listen app.
This is Sir Doug Nichols' Round
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Second term underway as they go forward here. Collingwood towards half forward, trapped by Ollie Henry, floats a hand pass wide. To go, he is unmarked. Flying shot from 45 in the first 20 seconds of the second term. Stock up, and he is with a free kick, goes up inside forward 50 and finds the marking target. Cripps, arms above the head, takes the mark. He's on the approach. Brought to the left-hand goal post, but it comes back superbly. Didn't Carlton need that?
Spills now clear to Chera. A clearance for the Blues. Here's Charlie. Can't take the mark out in front, but he's still onto it. 50 out from goal. Hand pass to Fisher. Cuts back on his left to Cripps. Hand pass away to Walsh. Turns and snaps on his right and bounces through another.
Matt Cockrell again just slows things down. Third-year player. High inside forward 50, a little too deep though, with the fingertips at Howe, picked up by Curnow, 45 out, snaps towards goal, all the way Charlie Curnow.
The Sir Doug Nichols Round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Half-time at the MCG, Sunday afternoon footy. It's Carlton leading Collingwood by 6 points, 6-2-38 to the Pies, 4-8-32. Charlie Curnow with a couple, the Blues kicking 4 goals to 1 in that second term after trailing by 8 points at quarter time. After this match, we'll be taking you to the Adelaide Oval where Port Adelaide are taking on Essendon. That match about to get underway. And earlier, St Kilda 53-point winners over North Melbourne. Max King booting 3. The thoughts of Brad Hill here, chatting with Lauren Borden.
Brad Hill, I've got him with me. I mean, just looking at these rooms right now, it's the first time family and friends have been allowed in here. It's Sir Doug Nichols Round. Take me through, what it's like in the rooms right now and what you're feeling.
To be honest, I forgot about it. And then when I come down, I saw all these people. I was like, oh, yeah. I remember they saying that all the family's allowed to come back in. Oh, yeah, it feels like that footy's back again, you know what I mean? Like, since we've been playing footy, we've always had friends and family in here after a win. And, yeah, it's the best feeling when you get, your family in here and everyone gets to celebrate together. And, yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to see it back.
No, big smile from you and take me onto the field. Obviously, it was a pretty comfortable performance out there. We're in control throughout the day. How did you feel as a side?
Yeah, we probably didn't start that well, but then we got going. But, yeah, I thought in the back line we played some good footy, especially, Wilkie and Doug down there, the big fellas, and Battle. They stood up tall for us and then allowed the likes of Sinclair and myself to get up high and get involved, and it was good to sort of get that connection with Sinks and start going, playing well together, and that's what we want to do, both of us getting up high and getting involved with the play. So it was good to see.
It is a really good defensive unit that's been moving along quite well throughout the first half of this season. Have you been ticking the goals that you would have liked to have seen heading into the bye?
Yeah, definitely. It's a great start to the year. Obviously, I think 8-3 now at the halfway mark. So, it's going to be good to have a bye, have a little bit of a rest, and we've got to reset and go again and have a strong second half of the year. And everyone wants to make the top 4 because you give yourself 2 opportunities to make it to the big stage. But we'll reset and hopefully we can have keep continuing the good form we're in.
And can you tell me a little bit about Mitch Owens? Obviously had to wait since round 1 to come back in for his second game, slotted a couple of goals and looks like a lively player and will become something for the Saints.
Yeah, we've been obviously, he's a young fella, started in, and some older boys came back in, so they sort of pushed him a little bit out of the side. But he's gone back down to Sandy, and he's just been performing week in, week out, and being able to do that, playing midfield and also going forward and hitting the scoreboard. And he did that tonight, and he's a big body. If you see him, he's probably 90 kilos already, the young fella. But the likes of him, Marcus Windhager, Nasiah, that these younger boys coming through are making us a better team. So it's good.
Brad Hill got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year following St Kilda's 53-point win over North Melbourne, so it moves the Saints into the top 4 for the moment. Carlton will jump ahead of them if they get victory at the MCG this afternoon. So the Saints with the bye, and then they take on the Brisbane Lions the other side of that, so that'll be a good test. And unfortunately for the struggling Roos, just the 1 win so far. So they win the West Coast Eagles with a bit of work to do in the second half of the season.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very, very long year for North Melbourne, unfortunately. It just doesn't look like where their next win's going to come from. It can become pretty tough when you're in the 4 walls of that footy club, and you work, like all those guys be working really hard. They'd all be wanting to win, and to be able to just to sing the song with your teammates and get some sort of reward for effort. Yeah. And that's why you play football, is to win and share that with your teammates. And when you're not winning games of football, it's really tough work.
Can it be hard to be positive, Murph, when the team's going through a rebuild and wins are hard to come by, and external noise about, not all that much positive news with the 3 recruiters leaving the club? But how do you try and generate some sort of positive affirmation?
Oh, you've got to look for positives wherever you can try and find them, to be honest, and that can be from young guys with efforts that they've made. So even sometimes with guys in rehab, like even pushing to be ready for selection and getting through that process of being injured. You've got to try and find ways of getting some form of nourishment, because if you're continually looking at the long term and looking how far away it can be, it can become really tough. So you've all got to stick together, really buy in, have honest conversations. You've got to try and stop all the talking in the corridors, because when you're not going well, little small groups start to form and start talking. And that's the worst thing you want for your football club. So there's a lot of responsibility on the leaders at that footy club to make sure that they're all doing the right thing, all preparing as hard they can, training at a really high level, and trying to have some fun while you're doing it as well is really important, because if you just keep on turning up to work and it's hard work, getting flogged, bringing your mouth guards to train, that sort of stuff. As long as you're going about it the right way and your effort and you're playing team-orientated football, that's what you want. And then hopefully you just look at results will look after themselves. But, I don't miss those days.
Me either. Murphy alongside Brett Delidio with some nice honesty there. Brett Sprigg and Matt Clinch calling the action. Jess Webster is down on the bench. So Jacob Wiedering has been subbed out of the match. It means we've seen Jack Carroll since quarter time. Collingwood haven't used their sub yet, Bo McCreary.
Just on the tight first half, so 6 points Carlton's way at the major break. It was only as much as 18 points Collingwood's way in that second term. Had a look at this. Last time they met, 29-point margin Carlton's way. That was round 18 last year. 29 points was actually the biggest margin in a 7-year span. So before that, there were 9 previous games, 24 points or less, these two sides. So they've played some tight games. The Pies won 5 in a row, and 7 of those 9 went Collingwood's way, unfortunately. But they have played some tight games in the past 7 or 8 years.
Well, hopefully that's what we're in store for. It feels like there's been moments where both sides have wrestled momentum. Collingwood early in the second quarter, where they kicked a goal and kicked 3 behinds, and then Carlton late in that second term. Are you expecting to see more of what we saw the Blues late in that half, or do you think Collingwood can offer a counter here?
No, I think Collingwood could offer a counter, absolutely, but I think that first set shot on goal is going to be really important for whoever takes it for Collingwood. I think we've seen that it can really spread through a club when someone becomes inaccurate, or the team becomes inaccurate, makes it quite contagious, But I like the way Collingwood are setting up. I think they would have spoken about a few things that I was talking about during that break, about just tightening up a little bit more defensively. Don't allow so many uncontested marks and allow them to get field position on you. So do that. They'll be well and truly into it, as well as kicking straight. It's the crux of the game, isn't it, really? It
certainly is.
So as day becomes night, second half underway. Carlton by 6 points to Goey for the Pies. Waits for a hand pass here to Adams. Now they can win the first clearance. Adams just tumbles it towards half forward. Out to meet the footballer. Pinsky takes Cottrell head on. Hand pass out wide for Sidebottom. Spins around the Nunes tackle. Hand pass goes straight to Walsh of the Blues. Lays it off by hand to Cottrell. He looks at the options. Fires the handball inboard now for Dow. Steps the infield away from Pendlebury. On the drop here for the Pies though. Cameron off to Quaynor. Comes back infield for Adams. Makes a contest late to Sard. Here's Cripps for the Blues. Hand pass was chopped off by De Goey. It's a hot footy again in the middle of the MCG. Adams piles in. Umpire lets them play for a moment. Cripps off to De Goey. Collingwood go forward again. Out to just inside 50. Myercheck in the contest tries to parry it to advantage. They come in and Newnes can clear the footy for the Blues. It'll come out wide now for Nick Newman on the outer wing.
Got it from Dow. Hand pass to Hewitt. Back to the run of Newman on the southern side of the ground. Good vision. Pulled his kick to Owies at the top of the 50. Inside 50. Charlie on the lead. Can't take the mark. Darcy Moore right onto him. Charlie's back onto it. Flying shot on goal. Misses to the right. Zach Fisher with his arms out in the corridor. But Charlie was going himself. And the Blues lead by 7 points. Opening minute of the third term.
Josh Dacos brings it beyond offensive 50. Here's Ginnivan. It's a simple chest mark. Chorus of boos from the Carlton faithful. Here comes inboard for Jack Crisp. The lad from Myrtleford works the hand pass forward here for De Goey from the logo commentary side. Up inside forward 50. Mason Cox. Good separation against Plowman. Lays off the hand pass to Adams. Stops, props, goes the fend on Plowman. He's 55 from goal. Squares it now to Sidebottom, who takes the chest mark. 45 out. He can go on in turn closer to home where it is marked in the pocket. Down there by Lipinski. And he'll have the set shot from no more than 25 metres out. Down to Jess Webster on the boundary.
So I popped the beanie on at half-time, guys, as the temperature drops here at the G. And I've just noticed some of the Collingwood players are wearing jackets on the bench as well. So it makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not the only one feeling it.
The temperature's certainly dipped, that's for sure.
Toughen up, Jess, I reckon.
Pat Lipinski, the former Dog, in the pocket. Opens up the angle. And the Magpies have the first goal of the third term. 5-8-38. They close the gap to a 1 point game. Carlton 6-3-39. 2.5 played third term. ABC Sport. This is Grandstand AFL.
Apologies, Jess. I said the bloke in the heated box upstairs. I'm sweating. But Lipinski was down there for an eternity, wasn't he? He could have been given the ball straight away from Mason Cox if he had a turn and gone. But handballed off to Taylor Adams and just got pressured a little bit. But it was a nice play to square it up to the offside winger in Steele Sidebottom, just running his patterns, and eventually got it onto Lipinski in that pocket, Murph.
I'm just wondering about Mason Cox. Do you reckon he has brighteners in those glasses, like when it becomes night?
Has to.
I was going to ask you at night whether it becomes
get the yellow ones in.
Yeah. So 5 individual goal scorers for the Pies. Charlie Curnow with a couple for the Blues, and Collingwood peg one back early here. Cameron wins down the tap. De Goey can't break his way through. He's tackled by Paddy Cripps, and the umpire will throw it up.
Spoke recently, Mason Cox, about just how bad his vision is and how necessary the goggles are, despite some of the jokes that have gone his way.
Yeah, repetitive pokes in the eye, so it is a health concern for him, even though we make light of it. But Sam Walsh can't break his way clear. Footy locked to him, and good follow-up effort from Darcy Cameron. Gets up and competes with Cripps in the ruck. Unfortunately, puts it over the shoulder and gives away the free kick for all his good work. So the Carlton captain has it in the middle of the MCG. Players streaming forward. Cripps decides to go long, straight down the middle to Koenig's gone forward in the pack. He brings it down to the front. Quaynor there, becomes the tackle on Fisher. Was that over the shoulder? Got the hand pass to O'Brien. Kicks to the goal mouth. Did they take the advantage? They did. So it's going to be a behind.
Jeez, you can't get that
Fisher
advantage,
has his arms out going, what about my free kick? As Lockie O'Brien had the shot on goal. He didn't make the distance, through for a minor score. Carlton by 2 points.
Maynard drives it long beyond offensive 50. Darcy Cameron comes up in front, takes the mark ahead of O'Brien. The right half back here for the Pies. Darcy Cameron, big role of course in the absence of Brodie Grundy. First choice ruck at the Pies. There's Mason Cox in the contest down there with Lewis Young, and it's knocked out for a throw-in. Members side of the ground here at the MCG. Carlton by 2 points. 6-4 plays 5-8. 5 go on third term. Earlier, the Saints over North Melbourne by 53 points. Port Adelaide Essendon getting underway at Adelaide Oval.
Toss back into play. Cripps continues doing the ruck work for Carlton against Cameron. Gathered though by Jack Crisp of Collingwood. Hand pass to Cameron, who dribbles a kick towards the boundary line. Paddy Dow races after it. Picks it up for the Blues. Hand pass to Stocker. At right half back. Pulls his kick to Cripps, who hasn't moved. Centre of the members' wing. Looks up further afield. He has Charlie Curnow and Jack Silvani inside the attacking 50. Decides to go short after veering into the corridor to Sam Walsh. Back to Dow around the boundary line. Good ball movement from the Blues. Just waiting for options to present. Paddy now veers out to the right, kicks along inside 50. Silvani's trying to get a fly at it from the back. Spills down to the front. Owi's hand pass out in the left pocket. Fisher hard against the boundary. Throws it on the boot, but misses to the left-hand side, near side. A minor score. Carlton by 3 points. 5 minutes gone, third term. ABC Sport.
Quick kick out. Goes to Nick Dacos from Jeremy Howe. Dacos in the left back pocket. Called to play on now. Pokes it in defensive 50 for Pendlebury. Game number 344 for him today, the Collingwood skipper. And he finds his premiership teammate still side bottom. So a slow, considered approach here for the Pies. Trail by 3 points. Side bottom called to play on. Gives it a roost up the outer side of the MCG. 2-1-2. Myercheck, big leap. Couldn't pull down the grab. Away comes Chris. Bursts through. Breaks the tackle. Adams receives the hand pass. Lays it off by hand to Elliott. Goes inside forward 50. Mason Cox in the contest with Young. The umpire spotted the free kick for a hold on the American Pie. And he's 55 from goal. Now we're streaming forward, but Mason Cox may take the set shot here. He's going back on the 45-degree angle.
Has he got the journey, Murph, from here?
I feel he's a bit too far out.
He's not the purest striker of the footy, is he? But
he's great from 25, 30 out.
He seemed a little pensive, didn't he, Mason Cox? He connects from 50 to the city end. It certainly got the carry. It's missing near side for a minor score. Collingwood 5-9-39. Carlton 6-5-41. 7 going third term. ABC Sport Grandstand AFL.
Let's check into the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide taking on Essendon. Ben Cameron.
Yeah, 12 minutes into this contest, Clinchy, it's Port Adelaide leading by 10 points. They're 2-1-13. Essendon 3 behinds. Rosie and Finlayson the goal kickers.
Thanks, Benny. Newman straight down the middle for the Blues. He's turned it over. Howe runs onto it, kicks inside 50. Elliott one-on-one with Newman. Couldn't take the mark. Something's off the ground, but it ricochets into Lewis Young and goes out of play up against the right behind post. Jamie Elliott did a lot right against Newman and almost pounced to throw in Collingwood deep in attack, trailing by 2 points.
Another stoppage inside 50 for them. Umpire tosses it back in. Now Cox was shoved by Paddy Cripps. Umpire was wise to it, said play on. Elliott dumping the tackle. Footy comes loose. Walsh a hand pass out wide. O'Brien, they can link up by hand here, the Blues. The kick will come beyond defensive 50 to Fisher. Zach Fisher received it from Newman. Stabs the pass here. It's picked off though by Pendlebury. Pendlebury brings it back infield. Mark by DeGoey front edge of the square from centre half forward. Flares it inside forward 50. Couple of bounces to Myercheck. Off here to Lipinski. Can have a flying shot from 35 with a snap. Pat Lipinski can bring it home for his second. And the Pies are back in front. 6-9-45 plays 6-5-41. 8.5 played third quarter here at the MCG. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy.
Well, it just comes back to Scotty Pendlebury reading the ball and intercept mark, and as Scotty Pendlebury does, just knew exactly where his teammates were once he did mark it and just turned straight in board, and the goal just results on the back of the Collingwood captain just reading the play and just being too clever.
I was a bit worried about that one-step kick from Geordie to go. I thought, oh no, he's cost him another opportunity, but well butted up by Myercheck. Pat Lipinski's been dangerous inside that forward 50 to start this third quarter. It's his second goal already, proving to be a bit of a handful down there.
He's a nice looking player, I reckon, Lipinski, isn't he?
Been a good addition.
Just adds something a little bit more, like in terms of class-wise, to the Collingwood outfit.
Traded for pick 43 after 56 games with the Dogs across 5 seasons. Back in the middle of the ground, Taylor Adams gets a clearance for Collingwood, kicks towards half forward, charging out Myercheck, bounces into Nunes, the ball spills clear. Plowman with a hand pass to Walsh for the Blues, to Nunes, who's back on his feet, to Chera, under pressure from Sidebottom. Walsh got an awkward bounce and Sidebottom swoops back on it for Collingwood. Hand pass to Pendlebury, linking up with Sidebottom once more, ran into a dead end. Plowman with the tackle, no whistle for holding the ball. Fisher swoops onto it. Hand pass away to De Koning, works it back to Hewitt. The Blues advance forward nevertheless, out wide to Silvani, who marks on the members' wing.
It's probably the quickest hands I've seen from Zachy Fisher through the corridor there.
Pies by 4 points. Silvani comes inboard for Doherty. On the logo members' side. Slowly switch across. Half back, Nunes. The southern wing now. Walsh in plenty of space. Possession number 23 coming up for him. Needs the neat entry here. Cripps, second bite. Pulls in the mark. We had Quainer coming to close him Cripps did well on the second bite, controls the overhead mark, 45 out, an angle slightly better than 45 degrees.
It was pretty poor from the Collingwood forwards there. They had them locked in on this members wing, but they allowed them to get back inside the ground. And then once they did that, it just opened up for him and Sam Walsh. But there was a little bit overplayed from Isaac Quainer. Just need to take the body with his spoil.
Just as Collingwood recovered the lead a short time ago, Patrick Cripps with a set shot to the punt road end, connects from 48 metres out, right to the line, and knocked through for a minor score left-hand side. Carlton 6-6-42, trailing Collingwood to a 6-9-45, 11 going third term.
For a 3-point lead, the Magpies' way. After 2-0 in this third term, the Pies' way. Howe brings Collingwood out of defence. Long kick towards Cameron in the pack against De Koning. And spoiled out of play for a boundary throw in front of the Carlton bench. Jacob Wiedering subbed out after the first quarter. And Jack Carroll came into the action. Bo McCreary still not required for the Pies. Matt Clinch alongside Brett Sprigg called the action. Jess Webster down the boundary. Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio, your experts. Thrown back in. Cameron works his way to the front against De Koning. Clears the two. Walsh gathers. Couldn't link up with Chera. Tyler Brown slung and a tackle by Paddy Dow, and the footy stuck underneath Brown, and the umpire will throw it up. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Braden Maynard's just gone down into the rooms for the Pies. He's got quite a severe gash on his head. He'll probably have to go downstairs to get a few stitches, and hopefully he'll be back out here.
Away from the congestion, Adams' hand pass picked off by Newman, off to Doherty. Carlton go back forward again, leaping up. Curnow was taken. No, he's given away the free kick, or a free kick going Collingwood's way anyway from half back. We'll come back. Silvani, it was infringing on Howe. So we'll come back here, 40 out from Collingwood's defensive goal, Jeremy Howe. We'll come to find Noble at right half back to seeing a replay of that decision. Noble called to play on. Drives it long, members side, 2-on-2. De Koning wants to sit, won't get it. It's hacked away out of the air by Walsh. Hand pass back to Doherty. They'll try again here through Carroll. Off to Paddy Dow. Back to Carroll. Works his way through traffic. It was run down though. Good pressure lost Molly Henry. And the kick then goes straight down the throat of Josh Dacos at right half back for the Pies.
Collingwood by 3 points as Dacos looks for options at half forward. In two minds and decides to go wide to Noble. He marks just inside the boundary. Had some great pressure efforts in the match against Freo. Son of North Melbourne coach David sends Collingwood towards half forward. Darcy Cameron's there in the pack. Ollie Henry flew as well. Front and centre crisp for Collingwood. Hand pass to Goey. Side bottoms push forward. He's all on his own. Marks directly in front, 40 metres out. He's done that a few times, still side bottom.
Yeah. Well, that's just a defensive breakdown because he's playing wing out there, still side bottom, and we know how good a player he is, but there should be a Carlton winger who should be right beside him because he's obviously getting drawn to the ball or drawn inside for whatever reason, but if they're going to be fair dinkum about holding their balance, Carlton, they can't afford to come off blokes like still side bottom.
In his 14th year, the experienced Magpie, two-time Copeland medalist, looking for his second from directly in front, 45 metres out, not a bad kick, just faded left, and a minor score. So the Pies doing all the attacking in this third term. They lead by 4 points.
Quick work from the kick out. Carlton with a footy through O'Brien. His 50th game today. Beyond defensive 50. They converge on the wing. Cox, though, floats across and takes the intercept mark. Mason Cox again looks at the options. Look to send the Pies deep into attack. Away it goes. 30 out from goal. They converge. Get him at the crumbs there. Can't quite gather. Tyler Brown had the arm pinned by Paddy Dow. Footy comes loose. Brown to Chera. And now Doherty. Elliott behind him looking to tackle. Doherty's kick goes beyond defensive 50 with the fingertips of Mason Cox. Out the back though, picked up by Nick Dacos. Fires a hand pass back to Noble. Now Nick Dacos again. A little 1-2 ball. Goes inside forward 50 by foot. And the mark is taken by Myercheck. Good vision. Myercheck takes it 35 out directly in front.
Well, I think for all the credit we give Sam Doherty, that left leg there is there for balance, Murph. It
was there.
Not a great deal of penetration or spin on it, but we spoke about Myercheck in that first half not having a heap of opportunities, but what he has been able to do is just provide a contest and just continually work, gets his lick at the end of it here.
Only 3 kicks, 1 kick today in fact, and this is his first real opportunity, Brody Myercheck, and he just tugs it to the left-hand side for a minor score. So the Pies, 6-11-47 up in Wayward. Carlton 6-6-42. 16 going third quarter here at the MCG Grandstand AFL.
So the Blues with 4 behinds in this third quarter to Collingwood's 2-3. Pies leading by 5 points. We've had 4 lead changes so far in the match. Sard plays on into the back pocket for Carlton. Sends it towards Captain Cripps. Nudged underneath it illegally by Nick Dacos. And the free kick will go back to Cripps at left half back. No one stands them up. Now Josh Dacos does that roll. Call to play on. Cripps just chips it over the top to O'Brien. He gathers just in front of a stray fist from John Noble. Takes the mark short to the boundary where Zach Fisher has it. Collingwood by 5 points. Zach Fisher looking at options in the middle of the ground. Nothing really on offer. Silvani and Kerner long down the line. Cripps has set himself well, but there was a tug on Mason Cox just before the ball got in the vicinity. Hang on, who's the umpire pointing to? I think Mason thinks it's his free kick. No, it's Nick Dacos's. So, okay, eventually the ball found the right player in the eyes of the umpire. Collingwood take it back at half back, leading by 5.
Should that be dissent from Paddy Cripps then?
It's fair enough to ask the question too, wasn't it, who was going to?
Dacos, it's Nick, up the line he goes. Ball from behind there, Young. At the drop there, Ginnivan bursts through. Hand pass, though, goes straight to Chera. Wobbles it high in the air towards half forward for the Blues. Underneath it, great second bite. Silvani lays off the hand pass to O'Brien. Going inside 50, low down Kerner on the half volley. Couldn't reel it in. Has some pressure coming the other way down there from Jeremy Howe. Gathered off the deck by Quaynor. They can rebound, can they? Hand pass untidy here for Tyler Brown. Picked off by Hewitt. Now Motlop to Silvani. Carlton back ahead now. 45 from goal. The snap from Jack Carroll. And it's punched through on the last line by Steele Sidebottom. So Carlton peppering away now, 6-7-43. They trail by 4 points. The Pies are 6-11-47, 18 gone third term.
Still yet to kick a goal in this third term. 5 behind for the Blues. Moore out of defence, runs his good 30 measure. Hand pass to Howe, works it up to Sidebottom. It was a great kick, and he's away on the southern wing. A bounce as he hand passes it over the top to Hoskin. Elliott dead end as he's taken out by Doherty for a throw-in. Collingwood seemed like they were out on the break on the southern wing, but a good tackle from Sam Doherty. Hasn't he had a great season?
Certainly has. Just comes with speed, doesn't he? Like, he just decided, put it on himself just to come forward and really attack the man there and cause a turnover and get a stoppage.
2 battles with cancer, back into the Carlton senior side. And hasn't missed a beat since returning. Free kick for a hold, and it's going Collingwood's way. Mason Cox will take it on the wing.
Collingwood by 4 points. Cox opts to go by hand to Sidebottom. He's 65 from goal. Sends it deep to the pocket. Going up Myercheck at the crumbs here. Elliott snaps from 25 out. It's across the face and bouncing out of bounds alongside the right behind post for a boundary throw-in at the city end. So Collingwood getting the entry. He's just not making the most of it here. As Clinchy said, 2 goals, 3 this third term so far. And the umpire heaves it back in. Cameron out of the ruck. Held down there by Paddy Cripps. Loose footy Adams gathered, dispossessed, went straight to Chera. His hand pass goes straight to Tyler Brown, who turns and snaps and hits the behind post. And it's going to come back here, though, for a free kick. Carlton's way, and Adam Chera between fullback and centre half back, and no change to our score. Collingwood by 4 points.
Let's check into the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide and Essendon with Ben Cameron.
Yeah, we've played almost 24 minutes in this opening term. Port Adelaide have kicked the first 4 goals of the match. They lead 4-1, 25 to 4 behinds for Essendon.
Thanks, Benny. Here at the MCG, Collingwood by 4. Chera's kicks 2 wide for Charlie Curnow. Out of bounds on the full, and Collingwood can take it back just short of right half forward. Heading to the city end in this third term. Josh Dacos has it. Elliott wants it to the pocket. He sends it longer than that. Hoskin Elliott will have a running fly at it. In the pack is Mason Cox as well. Young tries to pick it up for the Blues. I think there was a boot thrown in there, which the umpire spotted against Mason Cox. And Young will take the free kick in the left back pocket for the Blues.
So Young, the former dog, off a step, pumps it long beyond defensive 50 to Koenig. Moore in the back of him. Strong pack grab, Darcy Moore. Just plucks it out of the air and he has it on the wing member's side. The All-Australian a couple of years ago, Darcy Moore loads up, deep to the pocket. Elliott up there as well, Mason Cox off the back of his fingertips. Gathered in defence. And then there by Newman. Hand pass comes in, but for Doherty. Big tackle from Mason Cox deep in the pocket. The umpire says, let's ball it up. 15 out from Collingwood's goal, City end. Magpies by 4 points here. We've just hit time on here in the third quarter.
He's had a great quarter, Mason Cox. He's been everywhere.
He has, hasn't he?
He obviously stands out because he's pretty big, but he's been fantastic with his pressure around the ball.
Here he is in the ruck against Tom De Koning. De Koning with a tap down. Chris fights for it. Jams it on the boot. Henry comes out. Tries to palm it down to Elliott, but Doherty's there. Clearing kick for the Blues to the top of the 50. Noble's there. He marks on his chest. Collingwood at a 2-on-1. He can go to side bottom, backpedaling into the left pocket. And he takes the mark. Pendlebury offering a word of advice to Noble. They combined well, and it ends up in the hands of Steele side bottom.
That's again the offside winger just sneaking off. I don't know whether he's playing on young Jack Harrell, who's manning the mark currently, but if that was me on the wing, I'd be saying, swap, get me off the other side. Certainly if he kicks his goal, run to the other wing. That's it.
1 goal, 1 for Steele side bottom this afternoon to extend Collingwood's lead. That's a great kick. And the Pies have kicked 3 unanswered goals in this third term. And they're out by 10. 7-11-53, throwing down the challenge to the Blues. 6-7-43. 21 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. You're with Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Well, I think Matt Cottrell's out on the wing, and he was forced to man the mark of Noble, and then I think he just relied on Jack Harrell to go cover his man, but he's only early in his career, Jack Harrell, so he probably didn't react quick enough, but that'll come in time. But you just can't afford to leave a bloke like his class and ability out there by himself, and that's been a couple of occasions so far this quarter, hasn't it?
But it was a result of pressure in and around the footy, and they forced a dump kick from Doherty just to throw it on the boot and get it out there. It was well set up by Collingwood again, with Noble being under the high ball. Direct turnover at the top of 50, ends in a shot on goal and a score.
Restart back in the middle. Cameron, the clean tap. Pendlebury dispossessed though on the Hewitt tackle. Still clamouring for it in the bullseye. De Goey goes in hard. Regiment of football. The Blues, the hand pass comes to O'Brien. Wheels around, left boot, high inside, forward 50. Silvani, second, third bite, paid the mark.
Strong grab. Well done.
Good competitor, mate. Oh, look out.
Plays on quickly here for you. Oh, closed down there by Maynard, and he's coughed up the footy. And it's straight back here to the Pies, and the tackle ordered Braden Maynard. Inside defensive 50 at the punt road end. Collingwood by 10 points.
I think he found a pothole, didn't it?
Yeah, it sort of looked like it was a baby giraffe just being born. I'm just trying to find his feet.
Maynard wide to Noble, who takes the mark in front of Carroll. Biggest lead in the match was 18 points. Collingwood in the second quarter. So it's been pretty close most of the afternoon. Noble on half back. Kicks around the members' wing. Cameron the target. Doherty dropped the chest mark as Young worked Cameron underneath it. Bit of frustration as the ball goes out of play. Throws it back to the boundary umpire to throw it back in. Collingwood by 10. 23 minutes gone in this third term. Floodlights have taken over here at the MCG. A sold-out crowd with standing room only. Thrown back in. Cameron in front position against De Koning. Knocked it down, but straight to Cripps of Carlton. Kicks towards half forward. Durden outmatched by Murphy. The taller defender takes the mark and chips it wide to Josh Dacos.
It's not been the best quarter by way of skill level this third term, but still a tight contest here. 10 points Collingwood's way to go. He traps the footy on the wing, sends it high towards the painted 50. Cox up in front, spots it out here, trying to find Jack Crisp. His handball goes straight here to Ollie Henry. Put the tackle down there on Liam Stocker. Stocker got first hands on the footy, and Henry just turned him with the tackle, and they'll ball it up. 40 out here from Collingwood's goal.
Good hustle from Mason Cox there. Ball to ground, then tapped it in forward to a teammate.
And there is in the ruck contest here against De Koning, and he's almost thrown that ball away. Doherty, kick goes up in the air, won't go 15. Adams clamours for it here, brings it to ground here for Jack Crisp, who snaps on goal and misses to the right-hand side. So Collingwood now 7-12-54. Carlton 6-7-43, 25 going third term.
They kicked 3-4 in this third term to Carlton's 5 behinds. 24 minutes gone third term as Newman brings the Blues back into play. Kicks towards Charlie Curnow at half back. Cameron's there to Koning for the Blues. Hand pass forward to Durden. Works it over the top to Fisher. Trying to fend off Josh Dacos. Good pressure. His kick goes straight up and down, and Hewitt and Pendlebury compete, and it goes out of play for a boundary throw in. Blues haven't kicked a goal since the 24-minute mark of the second term. As we now tick past 25 minutes gone in the third term. Collingwood by 11.
Back in it comes. De Koning to the front of Cameron. Carries a hand pass away here, only as far as Lipinski. Traps it just forward of half back. His kick inboard is a little unclean, and now Durden dumped in a big tackle by Maynard. Play on, says the umpire here. Advantage paid here to the Pies. Noble with a bounce in the middle of the MCG. Goes inside forward 50, out to a 2-on-2. Underneath too far down there was Stocker. At the drop though, Henry is going to be a free kick for a hole that will go Carlton's way. And as they were all sort of running towards it, it was Newman. He was being held, so Mychik gives away the free kick. Newman out to Sard, not 15, play on. From the right back pocket, comes across a defensive goal mouth here for Stocker.
Stocker looks out to the members' side. Well, he's got Durden free, takes the mark at left half back. Looks up to Koning is free as well. A few metres on Maynard, takes the mark up against the boundary. Now where to? Charlie Curnow 1-on-1 deep with Darcy Moore. Big Tom De Koning sets fly in that direction. Cripps has gone forward, can't take the mark. Noble at the back, hand pass to Degoe. He barrels a kick into the middle of the ground. Underneath it, Newman couldn't take the mark. Young gathers for the Blues. Hand pass straight to Mychik. Lost it. Stocker to Newman to Durden. Carlton win the 1-on-1. Works it forward, and Hewitt has it at left half forward for the Blues.
And George Hewitt just forward of the wing. Drives it high inside forward 50. Curnow, ball from behind from Darcy Moore. Out to beat the footy to Koning. Overran it now. Picked up off the half-back line. It'll end up with a free kick going Josh Dacos' way. It was taken high by Paddy Cripps. He's called to play on Josh Dacos. On the 45, it's well marked by Jack Crisp.
Big quarter. Possession number 10.
So Crisp plays on around Durden. Comes up towards half forward. A little too deep down there for Ollie Henry at the drop. It's going to go out of bounds for a throw-in. Lewis Young couldn't trap it, so it's right on the junction of 50 for a boundary throw-in at Collingwood's attacking end. It's they who lead by 11 points. 7-12 plays 6-7, 27.5 gone third quarter.
Mark's been in touch from Hobart. I've watched some of the game on TV, listening to your commentary, and the skill's been this bad all match. In the third quarter, it's certainly been worse than what it's been the rest of the afternoon. Lipinski hard against the boundary, long inside 50. Cox has collected an opponent high. And it's Sam Doherty who's slow to get to his feet. So Josh Kennedy last week.
Oh, that's a bit of a scary one, that one. That's almost
Josh
a bit of a
Kennedy
neck.
Last week, and Mason Cox this is Sam Doherty, almost too courageous for his own good.
Yep.
Collared by Mason Cox and awkwardly landed on the middle of his back. From the restart, Hewitt tries to link up with Chera. Hand pass to Young, tackled. Adams did well, no whistle. They dive on top of the footy. And it's locked underneath Lipinski and Ollie Henry. Sam Walsh is often the case, is on the bottom of the footy.
It's noticeable the change in intensity around the footy in this forward 50 from Collingwood at the moment.
Collingwood by 11 points and deep in attack. Cox takes it out of the ruck. Kicks towards the teeth of goal. It's wide of Ginnivan and Sard as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. Collingwood heading to the final term with an 11-point advantage. 7-12-54 to Carlton 6-7-43. For the Blues led by 6 points at half-time and Collingwood by 8 points at quarter-time. So a 3-goal-to-none third term the way of the Magpies. Carlton sitting third on the AFL ladder. Collingwood a game outside the top 8 in 10th position. But the Pies taking it up to the Blues this afternoon. For Collingwood, 2 goals to Paddy Lipinski. Steele Sidebottom also with a couple. Individuals to Degoe, Elliott and Henry for the Magpies. Meanwhile, Charlie Curnow with 2 for the Blues. Individuals to Chera, Cripps, Walsh and Durden. Three-quarter time, Collingwood 11-point leaders at the MCG. Let's check into the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide and Essendon with Ben Cameron.
Early stages of this second quarter, Clinchy, and 4-2-26, Port Adelaide leading Essendon just the 6 behind. Something that you will see replayed during the week is a little skirmish between the Essendon players at quarter time. Darcy Parish, very frustrated with some of his teammates, started out arguing visibly with Jake Kelly. Then Dyson Heppel, the captain, gets involved, and eventually Dylan Shield. But arguing amongst themselves, Essendon, as this season goes from bad to worse. But 4-2-26 Port, they lead Essendon 6 behinds early in the second.
Thanks, Ben. Frustration boiling over for the Bombers. Three-quarter time of the MCG. Collingwood by 11 points on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Oh, look. Another flashy gimmick from the Gruen team. A Will Anderson action figure, a D-doll for D-Matic, and a tiny Todd Sampson.
Collect us all!
And they'll sing your favourite advertising jingles.
No, we won't. But we will deconstruct the way that brands are trying to sell to you.
The new and improved Gruen.
Now let me out of here!
Starts Wednesday, June 8th on ABC TV or log in to stream on ABC iView.
This is Sir Doug Nichols' Round
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Up inside forward 50, Mason Cox. Good separation against Plowman. Lays off the hand pass to Adams. Stops, props, goes the fend on Plowman. He's 55 from goal. Squares it now to Sidebottom, who takes the chest mark. 45 out. He can go on in turn closer to home, where it is marked in the pocket. Down there by Lipinski. Pat Lipinski, the former Dog. In the pocket, opens up the angle. And the Magpies have the first goal of the third term. Nightbot to go in front edge of the square. From centre half forward. Flares it inside forward 50. Couple of bounces to Myercheck. Off here to Lipinski. Can have a flying shot from 35 with a snap. Pat Lipinski can bring it home.
Tompkins there. Clearing kick for the Blues to the top of the 50. Noble's there. He marks with his chest. Collingwood at a 2-on-1. He can go to Sidebottom, backpedaling into the left pocket. And he takes the mark. 1 goal, 1 for Steele Sidebottom this afternoon to extend Collingwood's lead. That's a great kick.
The Sir Doug Nichols Round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Just 3 goals kicked in the third term. They're all the way of Collingwood, who lead by 11 points at three-quarter time. 7-12-54 to the Blues, 6-7-43. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg calling the action. Jess Webster down the boundary. The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport.
Well, it's all set up for a big last quarter, isn't it, Lid? So
absolutely.
We've been treated to probably not one of the finest games. Like the pressure's certainly
skill level wise.
Yeah, the pressure's certainly been on, and been some great contests, but skill wise, I'd probably love to see a little bit better execution. But anyway, we've got a tight one here in the last quarter, so we're excited to see what can happen. But what are your thoughts on Paddy Cripps being in the ruck so far, Lids? I know he's trying to do the team thing and help out the footy team with who's there, who's not there. But I'd like to see Paddy Cripps being the number one man in and around the ball, not the ruckman.
Well, we had this discussion with Justin Longmuir today on our show that Nat Fyfe, where does he go? Does he start in the waffle or does he come straight in? I think it's a bit like running Paddy Cripps into the ruck. I think you just don't put your weapons in the ruck. And I know he wants to do the best thing for the team, but for mine, I think he's better suited to be explosive when you're on ball, but then go and rest forward, because you're 194, 195 centimetres. You can take a catch and help out Charlie Curnow down there, who's fighting manfully, but he probably hasn't got the other tall timber down there to give him a chop out.
Yeah, and you're right, because when you are playing ruck, and he probably is finding out that just now it is taxing on the body. And
you're wrestling the whole day, pretty much.
You're basically wrestling, and he's wrestling a bloke who's obviously bigger than him. Like Paddy Cripps is obviously a big individual, but it's taking away from his strength of being in and around the ball, his power from there, because when he's not playing ruck and then he goes on ball, he's just probably a bit too knackered from working too hard in the ruck. But it'd be interesting to see what happens in this last quarter, whether or not they get Jack Silvani to come up when Tom De Koning's not in the ruck to play that role for them, and let Paddy Cripps go rest forward, because we see how damaging Paddy Cripps is when he is playing forward. He's one of those midfielders who can kick goals from the mid, obviously, but when he is forward, he's at 125. So he can be that extra tall down there. So I'd like to see him go rest forward and then not play ruck.
Well, we asked for the Collingwood mids to not allow Carlton mids to get on top, and I think they really nullified them more in that quarter. We saw Chera, who we spoke about at half-time, only had the 5 touches, wasn't as damaging certainly out of the middle. Hewitt didn't have as much of it. And we spoke about Cripps just then, and Walsh, they just didn't have the influence, I don't think, of what Crisp and De Goey had a big quarter just then. Pendlebury started to get a little bit more footy, as well as Taylor Adams. So if they can continue how they started that second half, I think it'll be all downhill for Collingwood, but it's on Carlton now to really challenge.
Who wins?
Collingwood for mine.
I think Carlton for mine.
We're split in the box. Into the final turn we go. De Koning doing the ruck work against Cameron. Here's Cripps on cue. Gets the clearance with a hand pass to Chera. Kicks to half forward. Quaynor won it against Motlop. Hand pass to Maynard. Kicks Collingwood in the middle of the ground. Sard and Brown. Great mark, Adam Sard. Takes a releasing mark for Carlton in the middle of the G.
All to play on now. High ball down the corridor towards a 2-on-2. Intercept grab, snatched out by Darcy Moore. Mark not paid. In goes Darcy Cameron. Towed out by Jesse Motlop. They measured the football here, the Blues. Hand pass out to Walsh. 45 from goal. He snaps. High towards the top of the goal square again. Nathan Murphy launches in defence. Overrun by Tom de Koning. Socket full by Jesse Motlop. It's through for a goal. What a moment. They may check this. It came through a bit of traffic to get there. Jesse Motlop thinks he's kicked it, but they're going to go to the arc.
Umpires calls a goal.
Review underway.
Question whether there's a touch on that from maybe Darcy Cameron or the boot of Isaac Quaynor.
Hard to see from there, isn't it?
It would be hard to turn that over if he's called that a goal, the umpire, which he has.
They look pretty convinced here, the officials. No, that was a replay. Still thinking it over.
That looks clear for mine. That hasn't been touched.
Oh, that's your Carlton hat on.
It certainly is.
Just a matter of whether Darcy Cameron's got a hand on it as Motlop's putting his foot through the ball. It looks clear.
Complete. Looking at this angle, there is insufficient evidence to say whether the ball was
So there you go. Jesse Motlop, just his third AFL game. What a moment for him. The umpire's just thrown the ball behind the goals. This is going to be a goal. Umpire's call is a goal. And Jesse Motlop closes the gap here to 5 points. Jesse Motlop, they come from everywhere to get around him. We know about his football pedigree. Of course, Indigenous round. He's a Larrakia and Noongar man. And that is a special moment for the youngster, Jesse Motlop, to kick that goal, despite the going upstairs and having a look at it. But it is a 5-point break Collingwood's way early stages final term.
It's been a tough day for the small forwards playing in the Carlton forward line because they have just been going short and slow the whole way along the day. So it hasn't been conducive to being front and centre for those long balls coming in. So always Durden and Motlop, they have to make the most of their opportunities, and good to see young Jesse Motlop get on the end of that one, make something out of nothing.
Has kicked a goal in his 3 games, so doing the number 3 proud for you, Murph. Back in the middle, de Koning wins down the tap for the Blues. Straight to Pendlebury, though, in the middle for the final term. Gone by Walsh. Great tackle. Don't often see that. Scott Pendlebury too slow to get rid of the hand pass. And Walsh takes the free kick. Drives Carlton long inside the 50. Curno's there. Silvani's there. Cameron in front. Fisher front and centre. Can't get a hand pass away. Noble for Collingwood. Back to Moore. Hand pass out wide for Josh Dacos. Good pressure, Durden. Hand pass hard against the boundary. And Silvani takes Darcy Cameron over the line. And a throw in the right forward pocket for the Blues. Collingwood by 5, but Carlton with the first goal of the final term. Their first goal since the 24-minute mark of the second quarter.
So back in it comes. 40 around from Carlton's goal, city end. De Koning works Cameron off the ball. Cripps out of it too. Handball from Walsh out to Carroll. Fires it back to de Koning. Doesn't have room to snap. Hand pass a little too hot this time again for Walsh. Quaynor comes in for the Pies. They can rebound off half back. It's to a contest. One down by Myercheck. Slapped forward by Collingwood and Elliott. Only as far though as the Blues. Now it comes to Plowman. Hand pass out in space. O'Brien had worked it all in the half volley. Sard can burn away from Tyler Brown. Footy comes loose though. Here's Carroll just forward of halfway. His kick partly smothered. It falls to Adams for the Pies. Off to Pendlebury. Here's the goey in space. He's 75 from goal. Has room to bounce. Pop it inside 50. Working his way back. Myercheck. No one's back there. Mason Cox runs into the pocket and he takes it 15 out. Slight angle to the left. Well, I thought Myercheck may have played on, gone for home himself, but he's shared the footy into the pocket for Mason Cox, and this will be a huge set shot opportunity for him.
Given the way that they have kicked for goal, I would have been saying, Geordie, just run the thing the whole way to the goal line. Get it in there, and they could have, but I guess when you take the more certain option and getting it to someone's chest, should be a lay down was there, but never say never. We've seen a couple of miss today, haven't we?
And Mason Cox has missed one himself. He makes no mistake this time. And pushes Collingwood's lead back out to 11 points. It's a goal apiece in this final term. The Pies 8-12-60, the Blues 7-7-49. 5 goal in final term, grandstand AFL.
Well, it was a goal just purely off pressure, wasn't it? It looked like Carlton were just going to get that one forward and get another inside 50, and Brown was terrific with his harassing and pressure and the hustle of the Collingwood side was just too strong for Carlton, and then they had outnumbers out forward of the ball, and then Mason Cox gets on the end of one and finishes off a really important goal for Collingwood, because it just looked like Carlton were really starting to come then and won against the play.
No Brody Grundy for Collingwood, so Mason Cox getting his opportunity in the Collingwood side, and an important goal there. His first of the season comes at the right time. Back in the middle, De Koning wins down the tap. On all fours, Cameron trying to get the clearance. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Kicks towards Lipinski at half forward. Nunes fights with him in the air. Free kick Collingwood's way.
Front on contact.
Yep, so Lipinski has it at the edge of the centre square at half forward. Does allow the Blues to push numbers back as the footies return to him. Lipinski points in the direction he's headed, straight down the pipe, long towards Cameron. Cox is there, Myercheck, almost Cameron pulled in the mark. Tyler Brown jams it with the boot, kicks it from the top of the goal square. Couple of quick goals to the Pies, and they're out by 17. And now the challenge goes down to the Blues. Catch us if you can. 9-12-66 to Carlton, 7-7-49. 6 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Well, they're certainly in the box seat now, the Pies, so if I was going to have my money, I'd probably be on them at the moment, so I'll quickly turn. But they're going to have to find probably 4 goals in this last quarter to get them over the line, the Blues, and they've had their backs against the wall, obviously, with Wiedering going out in that first quarter, so here's just another hurdle to show the football world whether or not they're the real deal or not this year.
It's certainly going to be tested. It's going to be over to you midfielders. Let's see whether you can take this challenge on, get the ball going forward, give yourselves a chance.
Collingwood by 17. Restart back in the middle. They go. Darcy Cameron snatched at it. Chris stuck the boot out, and it's brought to ground. The umpire ball up again. It hasn't gone beyond 18 points. That was early stages in the second term Collingwood's way. Crisp just dribbles the ball to advantage, almost basketball style, and now he's taken high. Will come back here for a free kick in the way of Jack Crisp. Collingwood on now. Down the corridor, 35 from goal, they converge there. Cox reaching from the back, Hewitt out to Plowman, he's dispossessed. It'll fall here, tackle Dow this time on Henry, ball bounces toward the goal square. Mason Cox was beaten there by Young. Hand pass to Newman, the Carlton side can clear beyond defensive 50. Silvani in the contest attempts the one-hander on Howe. It's going to be a free kick going his way for a hold, so Howe holding on to him. Free kick for Jack Silvani at right half back. It's the Pies here by 17.
Let's check into the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide and Essendon. Ben Cameron.
Good news for Essendon fans. They've kicked their first goal of the game. They still trail by 30 points as it stands. 7-2-44 plays 1-8-14. Port kicked the first 7 goals of this match.
Silvani up to Kerno on the wing and out to Owies at right half forward for the Blues. They trail by 17 points. Owies looks long and strong inside 50. Cripps is there, can't take the mark. Howe front and centre emerges for Collingwood. Kicks a spiralling ball to half back. Race after that, Ginnivan, and he does. He competes with Nunes. Couldn't take it. The young Pie, and the Blues win the one-on-one. Hand pass comes to Sard. Heath has a bounce before he even moved forward. Now looks inside the 50. Long kick. Cripps at the back. Never got to him. Mason Cox set himself in front, and the lanky American comes down with the footy.
Just playing inspired footy in this second half, hasn't he, Mason? He's been fantastic. Getting back, supporting his defence, being aggressive in the ruck and getting forward and kicking goals.
Mason Cox from fullback beyond defensive 50. Cameron reaching, second bite, paid the mark at left half back. And they surge forward. Well, the kick is a short one though to Josh Dacos. Up the wing, it was touched off the boot. Arrives at the bootlaces of Chera. Collingwood have run though. Crisp. Little 1-2 here with Lipinski. He gets goal side 65 away. Draws the player. Long sweeping hand pass out to the goey. 45 from goal. Got it off to Pendlebury. Now Quaynor. 40 on the run with the finish. Isaac Quaynor. It is missing to the right hand side. It almost put that game beyond doubt. 10 gone final term. 9-13-67. Carlton 7-7-49. It's a clean 3 goals the margin. 18 points.
I would have brought the house down if that had gone through.
A worried look on Michael Voss's face. As Stocker brings the Blues back into play. Not a great kick, but Dow gathers. Hand pass to Nunes, and now to Cottrell. His kick is touched on the way through. Pendlebury couldn't take it cleanly though, and now he's locked up with Hewitt over the top. It stops Collingwood surging forward once more, and a ball up at right half forward for the Pies. Collingwood by 18 points. Umpire tosses it in the air. Mason Cox knocks it forward, having a good last term into the path of Chris, but right half forward. Arches the back. Hand pass to Lipinski didn't work. Nunes knocks it into the pocket. Hand pass from Ollie Henrys is intercepted by Hewitt. Hand pass for Carlton to Dow, and they're out of defence through Cripps.
Cripps, the skipper, looks at the options, sends it back to Chera. Hurried kick up the southern wing in front of the Shane Warne stand. Howe gets best position in front of Owies and has paid the mark on the outer wing. It's an equal game-high 18-point break Collingwood's way. Jeremy Howe loads up, going inside forward 50. Mason Cox up in front. At the back, Ginnivan dummies the hand pass. Now goes back inboard to find Pendlebury on hands and knees. Slaps it out to only as far as Dow. His hand pass picked off. Lipinski dumped as well. And the umpire said holding the ball. Great work, Carlton. And Nick Newman will hand the footy back to his teammate Adam Chera, who was the tackler. And Chera up from the left back pocket. Wants to come up the line. Silvani, it was dangerous as Nick Dacos was closing him down. Footy still with Carlton. Through the corridor they go now. Nunes long and directs for Charlie Curnow. He marks 55 from goal. Inside forward 50, the unmarked man. He finds him. The mark is taken down there by Fisher. 35 out, slight angle to the right.
There's that kick inside to Silvani, and then he moved it on again. I can't remember who he went to. It was a brave ball.
Nunes?
Nunes. That's the one that opened it up and just allowed him to get on the outside. Fisher streaming forward. Pretty reliable, Murph, usually.
Yeah, on the run, very good. Set shot, hopefully just as good.
Zach Fisher to close the gap to 2 goals. He kicks from 40 and it's missing near side for a minor score. Collingwood by 17 points here. Quick kick out the Pies, and Howe has it at full back.
He looks further afield where Tyler Brown's free. Walsh quickly comes away, almost juggled the mark, hard against the boundary. But out of play for a boundary throw in. Collingwood by 17 points. 12 minutes gone, final term. Full house at the MCG in round 11. Ball spinning back into play. Cox up against Silvani. The big American works his way to the front, slaps it towards the boundary line. It rolls end over end. Out in front of Jack Crisp and Paddy Cripps for a boundary throw in.
Still plenty of time left, isn't there?
There is, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
12 minutes and change. McRae's come to the bench.
Tosses it back in. It's the other subplot here, of course, McRae v Voss. Successful teammates at the Lions. Collingwood away from the clearance here. Lipinski to Adams with some run. To Goey, the hand pass to Crisp over the top. Adams now 55 from goal. Options inside 50, plenty of them. Up and marking. It's taken by Ollie Henry. And he'll go back and take the set shot from 30 out, slight angle right of centre.
Well, they're just running in numbers there.
Just outworked, weren't they? Outworked.
They at the stoppage just wanted it more and ran harder and got an end of it. The Carlton mids were sort of left asleep, really.
So it's almost coast to coast from the Magpies. And this to extend their lead to 23 points midway through this final term. Ollie Henry holds the ball in his hands on the approach. And that will spark the Magpie army. Game high 23-point lead. 10-13-73 Collingwood. Carlton 7-8-50. 14 and a half played final term. Brett Deledio, Mark Murphy on Grandstand AFL.
Well, you spoke about it, Murph. It was the Collingwood mids being prepared to leave the contest quicker and harder. That little handball from Pat Lipinski to Taylor Adams just broke the play up. If he didn't get that off, they probably the game doesn't open up as much, does it? But Crisp gets involved, DeGoey gets involved, and a nice little finish from Tay Adams over to Ollie Henry, who's had his moments in front of goal, but that one really good for him to knock it through.
His second goal tonight, 6 in the space of 2 weeks. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Vibe check down here at ground level. You can hear the Collingwood fans in the effects mic just starting that chant around the MCG. Plenty of high fives and pats on the back on the Collingwood bench as well. Still plenty of time left, but they're riding high on confidence right now.
They're doing a lot right, the Magpies. The bounce is going to be recalled. Jack Silvani up against Darcy Cameron. As it flared out to the right. 15 minutes gone, final term. Collingwood by 23 points. Cameron wins it comfortably against Silvani. Free kick for a hold against Adams on Hewitt. So the Blues with the chance to get a clearance here. Hewitt with a hand pass to the run of Sard off half back. Too wide for Walsh, couldn't pull it in. Now tackled by Tagoe, turns it over. Crisp stripped by Doherty. Still a chance for the Blues. Sard runs onto it, looks into the pocket, finds Owies. 5 metres in from the boundary, 45 metres out from goal.
Well, they almost made a meal out of that, Carlton. They just overused the handball, and just actually the final one to Walsh just wasn't quite there to give. But anyway, Sard followed up really well and found Owies. Big kick from here.
Huge kick. Coming out for his 8th disposal of the afternoon. So quiet afternoon for the Carlton small forwards. Big kick deep in the left forward pocket. Owies comes in. That's good off the boot. That's just what Carlton needed. Pumps his chest and tries to lift his side. The Blues pull one back, and it's a 17-point lead the Magpies way. 10-13, 73 to Carlton 8-8-56. 16 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Well, as we spoke about, there is still plenty of time. They almost fell into that trap of, we've got to try and go really fast and make this up. And if you're going to go fast, you've still got to be able to execute. And unfortunately, they weren't. They nearly stuffed up. It was probably an errant free kick that led them off the hook. And just they got into Sard's hand, streaming off half back again. Class finish, though, from Owies. We spoke about Clinchy, had the quiet day, but took his moment there. Tried to get the crowd involved as well. Turned to them and
turned to all the Collingwood fans down there, and they all birded it right back to him.
Flipped him the bird.
Should get a crowd figure soon. Thinking 80s, aren't we?
I'd say so.
Yeah. On the restart, free kick going Collingwood's way for a block. So we'll go the way of Darcy Cameron. Cameron, slow kick up the line to his captain Pendlebury. Again, they can't milk the clock. There's still plenty of time left. They need more goals. Elliott marks. He's still 80 from goal. Needs a neat entry here. Elliott called to play on. Does drive it long to the pocket. They converge up in front. Ollie Henry put the jukes up, pulls it down. In front of the pack, he's paid the mark. 30 out, slightly right of centre.
Slow build-up, wasn't it? It was really methodical in the way that they went about it. Just chipped off little. It's probably the opposite of what Carlton were trying to do in the other centre bounce. They're trying to play havoc football, get it going forward.
They'd be pretty disappointed with that Carlton defenders. You slow little build-up, and then to have Ollie and Henry come across the front of the stop, the pack there and take a mark, they'd be pretty disappointed.
Ollie Henry, just as was the case 5 minutes ago, to extend the lead back out to 23 Collingwood's way. Similar sort of part of the ground on the approach for goal number 3, and he's got it. Magpies back in control. 11-13, 79. Carlton 8-8-56. 19 going final term. Grandstand AFL, Brett Deledio and Mark Murphy.
Let's just check into the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide and Essendon. Ben Cameron.
Essendon have kicked a second goal in this match. Power lead by 32 points at the 23-minute mark of the second term.
You spoke about it, Murph. You don't want to get beaten by what you know. Ollie Henry, really great jump and mark at the footy. Well, don't allow him to do that. Get in front of him, put body on him. But his ability to run and jump and take that at the highest point, come across the front of the pack, but then to put those yips behind him and nail 2 crucial last quarter goals is really impressive from the young man.
Had all the answers so far in this last quarter, the Pies.
Back out by 23 points. Ollie Henry, a couple of good weeks after 4 goals last week, 3 goals again this week. A 6-6-6 against the Blues, so the ball will be thrown up in the middle of the ground. Cameron and De Koning. The 2 fly in the air, neither with a decisive tap. Hewitt knocks it on to Dow, emerges out of the middle of the ground, not before he's run down by Pendlebury. Still a chance for the Blues. De Koning trying to get it to O'Brien, couldn't take it cleanly. Now flicks it on to Doherty, inside 50. Owies marks on his chest. In front of Nick Dacos, directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
It's a very good kick there from Sammy Doherty. It was a floater, but still went in the right spot. And he wanted to go that way, but I think he's one of those blokes who's more than capable of hitting a good floater, Sam Doherty.
The former basketball now on the big stage of the MCG. Matt Owies looking for his second. Great kick. The Blues are still alive. Back to 17 points, Collingwood's way. 11-13-79 to the Blues, 9-8-62. Just tick past 20 minutes gone, final term.
You're right. It didn't spin beautifully, Murph, but they don't draw pictures, do they? All that goes down as a score assist, which is great. But young Nick Dacos is learning that it's not just all offense when you're playing in the back line. You've got to defend and defend hard. And unfortunately, he's been on the end of always been in some great positions, but some good ball movement as well.
If they lose today, Carlton will slip from 3rd to 5th, so plenty at stake for them. They won't go away just yet, as Matt Clinch mentioned. 17 points the margin. They must take every opportunity. We've just hit time on in the final quarter. Here's the restart. To Koning v Cameron. Down to DeGoey and Cripps. Back down to the air by De Koning. Side bottom. Tried to get there. Walsh there for the Blues. Hand pass to his skipper. Cripps works it forward. Dow gets on a Noble. Traps the footy. Run down from behind by Noble. The umpire said play on. Motlop dumped as well. Out it comes to side bottom. Across half back here for the Pies. A high spiralling ball. Setting a task for Josh Dacos, who traps it at left half back. Comes up the line here for Tyler Brown.
Looks to play on and run around the members' wing. Long towards Myercheck, a 2-on-1. Stocker behind, Young in front. Young slipped over and Myercheck takes it over the boundary line as Sam Doherty comes in to lay the tackle. 80,627 into the MCG for a Sunday afternoon.
Doesn't quite pit Anzac Day, 84,205.
Yep. Collingwood by 17 points, thrown back in. Cameron knocks it to the front. Chera for the Blues, trying to link up with Walsh at half back. He bursts away from Pendlebury, kicks towards half forward. Curnow against 2. And Jeremy Howe did enough to claim the mark.
Tough work when you're Charlie Curnow playing on Moore and Howe.
Done that well this afternoon, Collingwood. Howe at times picking up Curnow.
Yeah, they have supported well.
Murphy coming across in the air to support Darcy Moore. Long kick towards Cameron, can't take the mark. Tyler Brown knocks it to Maynard. He takes a bounce at left half forward, looks inside the 50. Henry's there, one-on-one with Plowman. Plowman too strong. Did well, nudged him underneath, took a good contested mark.
Works the hand pass to Doherty. Back on the inside here for Newman. Ooh, kick is a little wobbly, but it's okay for O'Brien. Marks in the left back pocket here for the Blues. Collingwood by 17 points, 23 gone, final term. Back across the defensive goal mouth for Stocker. Right in the goal square. Can they find their way forward here, Carlton? Time running out for them. They need 3 goals. It's another short kick to find Plowman. Further up the corridor now for Doherty. So more direct here for the Blues. Not the way they generally play this year. On the bounce, it arrives to Josh Dacos at the Pies. Works in space away from Chera. Volley ball inside forward 50. Going up, and Ollie Henry got a spoil from behind. It might have got him around the neck. Umpire says play on. In comes Adams. Goes the fend. Snaps from 40. Right to the goal square. Contest down there. Myercheck works it out to the pocket. Oh, it's a race on foot. Fisher wins it for the Blues. Hand pass off to Cripps. Running by at a half back.
Takes a bounce. He ran into Maynard. Works it over the top to Durden. Gets around Cameron. Veers into the middle of the ground. Long kick towards Howe and Curnow. Curnow wrestles him away. Takes the mark right on 50.
Such a big one-on-one contest, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Curnow comes up trumps. But how about Durden's play there? When it all looked dead and buried, pressure was going to come. Just his ability just to put the foot down 5 or 10 metres and just go hard and get it out the back to Curnow. Great effort.
Charlie Curnow had 2 in the first half. Deep in the last quarter from 50. Sets it over the goal umpire's hat. Into the Blues' main man. And it's back to an 11-point ball game Collingwood's way. 11-13-79 to the Blues. 10-8-68. 24 minutes gone. Final term. Charlie Curnow has 3. And the Blues have 3 of the last 4 goals in the match.
That was a big boy goal, that one, wasn't it? Started with the big mark, one-on-one v arguably one of the best one-on-one defenders in Jeremy Howe for his size. We go back to that Durden contest you spoke about, Murph. Darcy Cameron just had the chance probably to maybe make contact, I reckon, and not allow him to take possession and get it forward. Instead, just threw the one arm out. He slides past and gets it to the money man in Charlie Curnow. Big goal from 50. Never looked like missing.
Back-to-back goals. 3 of the past 5 in the game for the Blues. Margin 11 Collingwood's way from the restart. Cameron wins it down only as far, though, as Walsh. Hand pass out to the unsuspecting Patrick Cripps, who lost his footing. Crisp goes in hard here for the Pies. Waiting for a clearance. Still the umpire says it's locked in. Let's ball it up. right on the paint, which reads Wurundjeri land, of course the traditional lands here around metropolitan Melbourne. Then they go Pendlebury. Hand pass out only as far as Cameron. He's brought to ground. The umpire will ball it up again. 26 played, final term. Magpies here by 11.
Tossed up quickly to Koenig and Cameron. They bounce into each other. Comes out to Cripps. The Carlton captain arches his back. Sends a spiralling ball inside 50. Have a go with that, Charlie. It bounces in front of he and more. Umpire waves play on. Quaynor and Durden to the pocket. They tangle once more. Carroll's there. Lays the tackle on Noble. Umpire circles. He'll ball it up in the left forward pocket for the Blues. Collingwood by 11 points. 26 minutes gone. Final turn.
Fair clearance from the Carlton captain, wasn't it?
Ball in the air. Cameron v Cripps. Hand pass from Maynard. They clear through to Goey, the Pies. High ball beyond defensive 50. Up goes Mason Cox. Through from underneath it. Slapped out here, looking for Young. Collected by Walsh. Handball to O'Brien. Kicks on a great work by Sidebottom, the veteran. Sard tries to hack it out of the air as well. Picked up here, though, by the Pies. Sidebottom gets it away from Tyler Brown and now kicks up the southern wing. Blues have numbers around the football. Hand pass comes back to Walsh. Can send them back inside forward 50. Where's Curnow? He leaps. Didn't quite get to the football. At the drop, Nick Dacos shares it with Quaynor and the Pies can rebound.
Long up to the southern wing where Young and Myercheck are there. It spills to the back. Hewitt's onto it. Kicks Carlton towards 50. Silvani comes out. Howe spoils it down. DeGoey runs onto it. Oh, he's fell into his back. And Collingwood will get some relief on half-back as Jordan DeGoey will get the free kick.
Oh, just kept going with it just that little bit too long, didn't he? Pressure's on.
Collingwood get a chance to take a breath as DeGoey goes wide to the southern wing. Nick Dacos marks wider still. And Steele's Sidebottom has it. Under the Shane Warne stand. Collingwood in no real hurry to move it. 4 goals, 1 apiece in this final term. Long towards half forward. Out came Myercheck. Couldn't take the mark. Cox's tackle seemed over the shoulder against Plowman. He won't take the advantage. And Carlton will take it at left half back.
He does play on quickly now, though. Comes slightly inboard now. Cripps, ball from behind Maynard at the drop. Getting there to it. Durden goes the fan on Maynard. The umpire said he had Pryor holding the ball. So they'll take the kick through Nick Dacos. It was almost a 2-man tackle in the end, Dacos and Maynard. But Durden took them on and get the ball away. Quaynor has it. Front of the boundary line, southern side. Kicks for distance. Towards right half forward, leaping up, couldn't quite get the reach in there, Myercheck. Adams on hands and knees to Elliott, shares it to DeGoey. 55 from goal, wheels around, thumps it, high toward the goal square. Lipinski in a contest with Nunes. Umpire spot on the free kick here, Carlton's way for a hold. Jack Nunes has it at full back. Collingwood still leads by 11.
Time to roll the dice, straight down the middle to Chera. The Blues are racing the clock now. Kicks out wide to Silvani. Takes the mark at right half back. Works it over the top to Carroll. Noble off his chase. He's gone.
Hold on.
Welcome to AFL footy and John Noble runs him down. Jack Carroll in his 5th game. Never heard him coming. And once more, great desperation for John Noble.
You've got to use the crowd to your advantage in that sense. It's either you've got heaps of space or you're hot. In that case, you were hot. You've got to know you're hot there.
80,626 fans knew apart from Jack Carroll as Noble got it back from Howe. And now to Josh Dacos, who takes the mark in front of the benches. 29 minutes gone, final term. Collingwood by 11 points. Josh Dacos veers out to the right, gains every millimetre, kicks long towards Cameron, top to Koenig, big mark. Put his knee up there and takes an important contested mark.
Untidy kick, seeds ground all the way back to fullback here for O'Brien. Made him work his teammate. Comes out to the paint of 50. Nunes lays off the hand pass. They need 2 goals in 2 minutes. Here's Sard. Got it from Plowman. Sard then through traffic. On the bounce here for Walsh. He opts to kick. Inside forward 50. Out there 2-on-1. Silvani up in front. Plays on. Hand pass to Curnow. Top of the goal square. And thumps it into the second tier. Charlie Curnow's got 4. And the Blues close the gap to 5 points. Collingwood 11-13-79. Carlton 11-8-74. Minute left. Goal of difference.
I just wonder if ever there's been a Collingwood chant for the win. Because the entire crowd has bellowed out the Collingwood. Have they got done by ever doing that? That's the question, because there's a minute left.
Plenty of time to score.
5 points the difference. It's all set up here for an absolute cracker.
I don't think they expected Tom DeConing just to take a big hanger at centre-half back and then nearly kick a goal the other way. Listen to that crowd. It's amazing.
The 261st battle between Collingwood and Carlton goes down to the last minute. 128 wins apiece, 4 draws, and the draws off the table. 5-point lead Collingwood's way. Cameron went early against DeConing. DeConing knocks it Carlton's way. Pendlebury in there. DeConing tries to dive on the footy. Cripps to Doherty. Hand pass to Walsh. Can he get forward? Runs to 50. Long to the goal mouth. It's offline. Darcy Moore down low and it goes out of play. Up against the right behind post. A boundary throw in. Carlton are deep in attack. They're still alive.
Collingwood by 5 points. 31 gone final term. Forward 50 stoppage for the Blues. Back in it comes. Cameron held out of it. Umpire said play on. DeConing tries to tunnel it away. Silvani bursts through. Hand pass comes wide to Fisher. Turns one way. Off to Nunes. Off a step. Across the goal mouth now. Deep to the pocket. Curnow goes up. Moore with him. Ginnivan finds the boundary line. The umpire's going to say let's throw it back in. Collingwood hang on by 5 points. 31 and a half played.
Collingwood forwards need to reset here. Even if it comes out, it's going to go back straight back in. Need a contest down the line.
What set play the Blues got late. Thrown in, DeConing and Cameron. DeConing knocks it down. Cripps tried to run in. Maynard's kick is smothered. It comes out to Silvani. He snaps and he misses to the right. He didn't miss by much. 4-point Collingwood lead.
Just can't give up a mark here. 20 seconds to go.
Pendlebury has the kick out. Opts the go by hand to Howe. It was dicey. Howe's kick goes straight up in the air. It'll land at the 50. Adams underneath it. Cripps coming the other way as well. Fisher's hand pass out to only as far as Ginnivan. He's ducking the tackle. The umpire says let's ball it up. 40 out from the Carlton goal. Magpies by 4 points.
Scotty Pendlebury, what are you doing?
Thrown up. Cripps does the ruck work. Cameron knocks it down. Walsh can't get clear. Hand pass way. No gathers. The siren sounds and Collingwood hang on. What a thrilling finish at the MCG in front of 80,000. Craig McRae gets the bragging rights as Carlton suffer their 3rd loss of the season. The Magpies by 4 points.
To uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Collingwood led by 8 points at quarter time. The Blues by 6 at half time, and then the Magpies got out by 11 points at 3/4 time. The margin was as much as 23 points Collingwood's way at the 19-minute mark of the final term before the Blues came rattling home. They finished with 5 of the last 9 goals of the match, or 5 goals to 4 in the final term, before Collingwood hung on by the skin of their teeth, winning by 4 points to spark a late Carlton surge.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Collingwood winners by 4 points. 6 and 5, they move ahead of the ledger and stay in touch with the top 8 with a massive win over the Blues. They face off again in round 23. And for Collingwood fans, well, they mightn't feature in September, but it gives them bragging rights until they meet again against their traditional arch rivals. Collingwood winners by 4 points, 11-13-79 to Carlton, 11-9-75. For the Pies, 2 goals to Lipinski, 3 goals to Henry, 2 to Sidebottom. And Lipinski, who I mentioned individuals, 2 to Goey, Elliott, Brown and Cox for Collingwood. Meanwhile, for the Blues, 4 goals to Charlie Curnow, 2 goals to Matt Owies. The individuals to Motlop, Chera, Cripps, Walsh and Durden. The Blues finish with the last 3 goals of the match, but Collingwood hang on to win by 4 points. Talk us all through it. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy.
How good was that, Clinchy? I thought the Pies by a couple of goals comfortably, but as with inexperienced teams, I think you can get a little bit comfortable. You probably hear the cheer squad start to chant and think, oh, we've got this one. You just take the foot off the pedal just a little bit, and before you know it, with the way the team structure up and, the 6-6-6, as soon as you get one against you, you can quickly become two. Pretty good effort from Carlton, I would have thought, given that they lost their key post backman Wiedering very early. But they'll rue that as a missed opportunity, I would have thought. They had plenty of opportunities to really put that game away. But in contrast, I think also Collingwood had a chance as well. They could have really had the game not to bed early, but they missed a lot of opportunities, didn't take them, and that can create a lack of momentum. I think that ultimately gave Carlton a sniff to come back into the game. But well done, Collingwood. That's a real confidence booster to back it up after last week to then go again.
Yeah, they were impressive, weren't they? It looked like they could have been 4 or 5 goals up at one point, but the Blues just kept on coming in that last little period and almost got away with it if that Jack Silvani kick had just been on the other side of the goalpost.
Would have been disappointing, I reckon, if you were a Collingwood supporter, wouldn't it?
would have been heartbreaking, let alone losing to Carlton and a Silvani kicking the winning goal. It would have just really driven the nail into the coffin. But they were terrific today, the Pies. I thought the Blues, considering having Wiedering go out in the first quarter, were pretty brave. Collingwood are an impressive side. They pressure hard. They're good around the footy. They set up really well defensively, and they're not easy to score against. So they're defending well as a team. They've improved quite a fair bit. Obviously, Craig McRae's first year, they'll be loving what they're seeing, the fans out there today, and there was just a tatter over 80,000 of them. So it's an exciting time to be a Collingwood supporter.
What impressed me was their ability to change at half-time. Carlton were coming with a wet sail, weren't they? Their midfield was dominating, but they changed the way they defended. Their midfield got on top in that third quarter, and they capitalised. They kicked their goals and made sure that they were in front. In front of their men more so when they were defending. That was the key for mine. Their ability to actually defend the ground a lot better and not just give up meterage, which is what I thought they were doing far too much in that second quarter especially. So well done to do it on the fly. Another good win for Craig McRae and his boys, but they'll learn a bit from that. It certainly wasn't a perfect game from Collingwood by any stretch. I think they've got a lot of learnings out of that, especially that last kick-in from Scotty Pendlebury.
Well, it wasn't a kick-in, was it?
344 games, and you're handballing to the pocket. It's like,
played on, soak the seconds, Buster Howe. Oh, now it's your problem.
Now what? Oh, yeah, that was panic, but that's all right. Look, you take the win when you get them, and they'll certainly enjoy this one.
So the Blues' third loss of the season. They'd won 4 on the trot. And for Collingwood, who, like a lot of young sides, started to look like they were tiring a little bit. Back-to-back wins, big wins. Freo, Carlton, sides who are in that wrestle for top 4. So they would have hoped that they'd be able to disperse Collingwood, but Flyers Pies are showing their fighting spirit.
Certainly have. It was certainly one that I'm not sure that it got away for Carlton because they were probably never the better side on the day. I thought Collingwood were much better for a longer period of time. So they would have just gotten away with it if they did get over the line, Carlton. But to Collingwood's credit, they defensively were really sound all afternoon. So they're 6-5 and going quite well, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. I was impressed with. I enjoyed the Moore v Curnow battle. I think it probably broke even, I would have said. I think Moore had his moments, Charlie Curnow had his moments. They probably weren't on each other right through the way throughout, but it was, mate, they're two of the best over the end. Yeah, he's kicked 4, I get it. But I thought Moore had quite a few moments as well. Didn't have his best game by any stretch, but that's just a good, enticing duel to come and watch, isn't it, when you see those two boys go at it?
So Pies next up, Hawthorn. That still feels like a weird game that's hard to pick based on Hawthorn's patchy form line and things they've done this year as well. The Pies are probably in a similar sort of boat. So, as you said, ahead of the ledger, 6-5. Carlton have the bye. So, not a great time to get. I suppose if you have it, you come off a loss like this and have more time to think about, I suppose, where you sit halfway point of the season.
Nothing worse than having a loss just going into the bye. Because all you want to do when you haven't played your best and you want to be able to rectify and come back and work on it, you've got 2 weeks now until you're back, and and back into learning from your mistakes.
Yeah, well, you'd assume they'll probably do all their review and get everything right before they head away and have their break and get away for 3 or 4 days and try and put this one to bed. But there's still some learnings out of it. I still thought they held up quite well considering Wiedering going down, but they've starting to get a bit of an injury list now, aren't they, to a few key individuals, so, and for quite a lengthy period of time. So you'd think Wiedering, obviously I'm not a doctor, but an AC joint depends on how severe it is. You'd probably be thinking anywhere from 3 to 6, probably.
Yep.
And then you've got Harry Mackay, which is probably another 3 or 4 weeks off. Pitney is, I think, a really important player for
Massive.
him because
huge.
It just the whole side looks better when they've got 2 genuine ruckmen in their side, and you're not having, well, for one, Paddy Cripps playing as a second ruck, which I think just a really. I wouldn't like to see it again. I just want Jack Silvani in there around the ball and let Paddy Cripps do what he does best at ground level and give him more energy at the ball and around the ball and going forward as well, because I think it taxes you too much playing as a second ruck. I know he wants to lead from the front and put his hand up and do that, but I think for the team's sake, I think it's better off not having him as a second ruck.
Mark Murphy and Brett Validio with their assessment of Collingwood's 4-point win over Carlton. Let's check in halftime at the Adelaide Oval. Ben Cameron.
Yeah, so as it stands at half-time in this match, Clinchy, Port Adelaide 8-4-52, leading Essendon 2-9-21, so a 31-point advantage the way of the home side, Port Adelaide. They kicked the first 7 majors of this match. Charlie Dixon on his return, his first match of the season, he booted 2 of those. Essendon with 2 of the last 3 goals for what it's worth in the half. There was a stern exchange on the quarter-time siren between Essendon players. Darcy Parish visibly frustrated with some of the seeming defensive efforts of his teammates. He had a few criticisms of Jake Kelly. Dylan Shield got involved. Dyson Heppel, as the captain, tried to calm down Darcy Parish as well. It was reminiscent of, dare I say it, Brendan Goddard and Dyson Heppel with the pretzels many years ago. But Port Adelaide leading by 31 points, not far away from the second half getting underway as a little bit of rain begins to fall at the Adelaide Oval.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for your work throughout the afternoon. Cheerio to BJ Goddard if he's listening. If we can get a quick Collingwood interview, we'll bring it to you. Then we're heading to the Adelaide Oval. Let's join the Pies with Jess Webster.
Yes, the Pies players have come into the room to the warm applause of the family and friends who are in the rooms, and they're just gathering in a circle. And there you heard it. Let's have a listen to the song.
Collingwood winners by 4 points at the MCG, enjoying belting out their song after beating their arch rival to take the Pies ledger to 129 wins to Carlton's 128 in the 261st time they've clashed. Let's get a 3-2-1 for the ABC Football of the Year, and then we'll find out if we can get a quick Collingwood interview.
Okay, we'll give a few special mentions to Adam Cheris, Sam Docherty, George Shooter. I thought they were all fantastic all day.
Fancy that.
No, I'm doing the Carlton and I'm doing the Collingwood. Josh Dacos I thought was very good. And a special mention to Mason Cox. I thought he was really good in that second half. I thought his contest work, he's bringing other teammates in the game. When he kicked a goal, supporting his defence, I thought he was quite handy in that second half. But my one vote for today goes to Crisp. 27 disposals, had 9 score involvements. He only went at 50% kicking efficiency, so that was the one thing that sort of went against him, but I thought he was very good. Sam Walsh I thought was Carlton's best in the day. He had 35 disposals, 4 clearances and kicked a goal himself, and I gave Jordan De Goey
the best
my 3 votes. He had 24 disposals, 1 goal, but had 11 score involvements.
We like those.
So I do love a player that gets forward and gets aggressive, and he's certainly one of those players, and he was instrumental on the day.
The votes from Mark Murphy in the ABC Football of the Year. Let's head straight back down to the Pies rooms with Jess Webster.
Thanks, Clinchy, and with Jamie Elliott. What an exhilarating finish. A great win against the old enemy in front of 80,000 fans here at the G. How's the heart rate?
Yeah, it was definitely racing in that last quarter. They were going to come. I think we were 20 points up or something, and we knew that they were going to throw everything at us, especially they've got such a good midfield, and that's where they started it. And they got that, and Charlie Curnow up forward, they've got damaging small forwards, so we just had to hold on, and we did.
2 big wins now in the last 2 weeks against 2 top 4 sides in Fremantle and Carlton. What do you think has been the difference in the past fortnight?
I think it's just coming back to how we want to play. I think we pride ourselves on pressure and we want to play a territory game. And before Freo last week, we were a little bit off our pressure. Our tackles were down. We're kind of, we're just down in those areas. And we came back to that against Freo. I think the wet helped us and facilitated that. And then we did it again against Carlton. I think our pressure was through the roof, especially in the first quarter and the start of the second. And then they started getting a roll on. And then it was just back and forth after that. And then obviously just trying to hold on in that last quarter.
Let's head upstairs for a couple of quick questions from Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio.
Jamie, well done today. Brett Delidio here. I just want to know what Fly's message was at half-time. It's a noticeably different way you guys played in that second half, especially the third quarter.
G'day, Brett. Shit. I don't have a good memory.
I didn't think you would.
The only thing I do remember is our start of the second quarter was really good, the second half of the second was really poor, and I remember him saying that, and then after that I was just putting my boost back on.
Yeah, no, that's okay, mate. You must be pleased for the young Ollie Henry to be able to go back and nail those goals. Obviously, you had those issues a couple of weeks ago. Must be pleased for him in that last quarter, nail a couple of crucial ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a forward, I think I had a chat to him after the game, and even during the week, about sometimes it's not your day, but you can just have a quarter where it'll just come to you. Even like Checkers tonight, he didn't have a great game, but it just sometimes, as a forward, it just happens. And Guinea, exactly the same. So it's just trying to educate those young boys and just say, just because you're not getting around it, it's not coming to you, other blokes are going to impact, and sometimes it's not your day. It's just coming back to doing team things, and it will eventually fall your way.
Jamie, well done today, mate. Murph here. I was really impressed with Mason Cox in the second half. I thought he was just bringing the ball to ground, creating great contests. When you're having someone who's that size and that big at your footy club, it's pretty important to have someone like him going well, isn't it?
G'day, Mark. Yeah, I think the best thing about him, especially, I can view it all from deep forward, and what he did well was just he got front position a lot and threw himself at the ball, and that's all we ask of him. And then he started clunking him, he brought it to ground, and yeah, that's been his biggest improvement. When he went back to the VFL, he had clear messaging, and that was basically it. And you've seen it tonight, how actually damaging he can be.
Jamie, Brett Sprigg, you didn't play the last couple of Anzac Day games, so tonight's 80,000 crowd, the biggest crowd you've seen for a couple of years. How was that to have that experience again?
Oh, mate, I love big crowds, and I think I've missed the last 4 Anzac Days, which is disappointing. But yeah, tonight I was even driving in, just thinking about how big the crowd was going to be, how loud it was, because I feed off that. Naturally, as a forward, you do, and I loved it. Having crowds back, especially experiencing COVID with 2020 and a little bit of 2021. Having fans back, it's just, they create such a brilliant atmosphere, and I just love having massive crowds at games.
How chaotic was the end, Jamie? You got out by 23 points, and Jack Silvani has that swinging shot. There was a lot of desperate moments in the last few minutes.
Yeah, I had a view of that. Fucking hell. Sorry about the language. I was stressing. Obviously, they had territory in that last quarter. And yeah, when he got that ball to Bird, I was like, please just hang right, and it did. So, and the crowd was so loud. If that went through, I would have been pretty flat.
Yep.
A few words are going to slip here if I keep going.
No, we rode the emotions with you, so we might leave it there. Jamie, well done on the win.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck against the Hawks next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Jamie Elliott, and apologies to some of our younger listeners, swept in the emotion of what was a pretty good win.
You ever done that before?
Never. No. Shane Tuck did it a couple of times. He was renowned for it.
There's a few high-profile examples across TV and radio over the years.
Well, I think Andrew Walker did it in his first game of AFL football. But Jamie Elliott's been around for a little bit.
He should know better.
He should know better. But anyway, sometimes it's obviously the emotion of the day. Huge win by the Pies, and against the arch rival in Carlton, they would be absolutely loving it down there.
Yep. Like chatting to your grandparents. Just remember your audience. Anyway, Jamie Elliott was with us, and it was great to hear from him. After Collingwood's 4-point win over Carlton, 11-13-79 to the Blues, 11-9-75. 3 votes went to Jordan De Goey, 2 to Elliott, and 1 to Jack Crisp. So the Blues will look to bounce back after the bye. Collingwood and the Hawks. All of a sudden a bit of interest there for the Pies.
Will be, absolutely. It's a big game for both teams, really. You would find out where they're at. They're both around the similar sort of marking. Collingwood just a little bit higher at the moment. So
yeah, well, Hawthorn has sort of been up and down, haven't they? So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, last night going down up there, they'll come out here next Sunday. Like we had commentating on that game, it'll be a good one to watch against the Pies.
Absolutely will. Thanks to everyone involved today. Collingwood far too good, winning by 4 points against the Blues in a thriller here at the MCG. Let's take you to the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide and Essendon. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross, Scott Camperley alongside Stephen Williams and Liz Walsh.